are live on Pop Culture Breakdown. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, and I am a little under the weather here, folks. A little under the weather, but I get by with a little help from my friends. Got a little the old creeping crud here. Comes with changes in the season and so on. But you know what? I am delighted to be here to talk about pop culture, shooby dooby doo wah, etc. and so on. You all know. I want to dedicate it. Everybody made it. But we're here. We got a lot to talk about, folks. A lot of weird things going on in the pop culture, and Stranger Things has returned. Is it Stranger, or is it just getting more of the same? Let's go ahead and go around and introduce all of our pop culture panelists here with us tonight. In the very, very festive cell, we have Gary Ambrosia. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's like Mel Torme, I don't know, came back and, led a bunch of elves and just, I mean, it's heartwarming. It looks like a fucking Hallmark card or something, chestnuts. It's just amazing. Wow. Welcome to the show, Gary. And tell us about this amazing decoration.
Well, it's kind of a cross between Mel Torme and Joe Dante.
Yeah. I can see the gremlin over there hiding.
There he is.
Is he going to bite off Santa's hand when Santa puts something in the stocking?
Possibly. Either that or he is Santa. He's going to deliver me a little surprise tonight.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but hail to the chat. Hail to the wrenches. There's some cool stuff to talk about tonight, so let's do this.
All right, let us do this thing. That cell is just so gosh, it looks fantastic.
Cozy.
Looks better than my quarters upstairs. It's kind of fucked up. And we have Rob Wright here from Rob Central. Hail to you, Rob Wright. How are you doing?
Doing all right. How do I top that? Wow, Gary, you just blew me away with your decorations. That's awesome.
Well, you put them up, man.
Well, I mean, we're always getting festive. I just need to get more festive around here. But
was he dressed like a fucking elf when he did it?
Well, yeah, he's always dressed like an elf, and those are his casual clothes. He only dresses up for the show. He always has like the curly shoes and little bells on him when he's over here just hanging out with me. I'm like, hey, what is it, Christmas? He's like, nah.
So we say that's a wrap, and then ting 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 ting. Rug goes hee 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 hee, and he stands up and he puts on things with stripes and shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Rob, it's great to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show. And screw A&M. The Aggies got totally fucked, and couldn't be nicer.
Yeah. Interesting football season we got coming up. So we'll see who makes the playoffs. So,
yeah, well, knock wood. And we have Heather L. In her freshly redone digs here. Hail to you, Heather L. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too, Dimcock. I'm somewhat back to normal. So,
yeah, finally, it's been a long kiss goodnight in a way.
If I could get Han Solo to help out more, but he just not good at work.
No, he's a scoundrel, and he forgot where he parked the Falcon for 30 fucking years until Ray showed him the way or something. Never happened. It wasn't real, was it?
It wasn't real. That didn't really happen.
No. But the airplane shit, that really did happen.
Well, that was Harrison Ford, not Han Solo.
Well, all right. Okay. Well, you're making excuses. I understand. And we have Sean here. Hail to you, Sean. It's great to see you, buddy. How are you doing?
Doing good. I hope everyone out there had a good Thanksgiving and is doing well. I'm sorry to hear you're under the weather there, DC, but I know you'll pull through. And I do have to quote the movie Top Secret, that is not Mel Torme.
Nicely put, Sean. Yeah. Nicely put. Thank you, my friend. Hail to you. And we have Mr. Nelson here himself, Doug Nelson. Doug, it's good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
We are glad to have you as always, sir. I see that you saw Stranger Things, and Can't wait to hear your thoughts on the subject in the second hour.
Yeah, I can't wait either.
He's still formulating them, or they cannot be uttered publicly as of yet because of perhaps profanity. I don't know.
Well, there's certain legal issues we got to.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
The review that dare not speak its name. Well, we're gonna get into that. Let's go ahead and move on into the breakdown. So we have two pretty good pieces of news here tonight, at least two. We have a situation with Jaguar, which warms my cockles. And we also have a situation, a remarkable situation, a video that I made last week with Gen Z. I've read a number of articles on this, and it fills me with hope for the future. So I was just wondering, I don't know, which one should we start with? Should we start with the simpler one or the more in-depth one? Let's start with the Jaguar one. If you all recall, Jaguar completely and totally self-destructed, self-immolated, built a big fire and threw themselves on it like, gaily colored Vikings or something. I don't know what the fuck. They were like Vikings from, the year 2525 when man is not alive anymore. And, mutant weirdo wokies have taken over the fucking world and they're all driving Jaguars and doing art. It was the most catastrophic, fucked up rebranding effort I have ever seen. I mean, it made Bud Light look sagacious, employing that Hardly Hepburn guy. I don't know. Hardly Hepburn is what I call it. But this was the worst fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It was honestly, it was even worse than a rebrand than The Last Jedi. I mean, it wasn't even, it was like something out of George Pal, the Time Machine. I don't know what the fuck it was, but what it was a disaster for Jaguar. I mean, their market share just plummeted. Nobody wants to be associated with that. It used to be that Jaguar was a luxury vehicle, and you wanted to be affiliated with that idea of luxury and elitism and, conspicuous consumption. But instead of that, you got weirdos and all sorts of weird shades of pink, purple, yellow, bright, haircuts from Mad Max, and there are consequences to this sort of thing. Gary Ambrosia called this to my attention earlier today. Gary, what are the consequences? Are the wages of woke broke?
I think it's a safe bet now. But I do have this article from Drive here, the drive.com, which is reported by Andrew Collins. I'm just going to read the first two short paragraphs. Jerry McGovern, the prolific car designer largely responsible for Land Rover's present-day aesthetic, the look of the new Defender, and most recently the eyebrow-raising Jaguar 00, has reportedly been fired. His impact on both Jaguar and Land Rover has been immense, and his alleged sudden departure would be a huge deal. Autocar India broke the news, pointing out that McGovern's exit comes swiftly after PB Balaji's assumed the CEO role of JLR on November 17th, 2025. So, that was just, a week or two ago. Back in January, that publication also shared a leak in leaked internal comms indicating strife within the company over some of the design and rebranding and the way it was being handled. Those docs indicate parts of the Jaguar rebrand were outsourced to Accenture Interactive, a third-party consultant, which, would have made us mad too. So this guy is taking quite a bit of hits here for what he did to Jaguar. So rightfully so, in my opinion. Apparently, there were some other brands that really tanked as well. So those were directly. It appears that those were directly the direct result of the campaign that he came up with, or that he farmed out to third parties, and were the result of his leadership.
Yeah.
That's it. He's gone.
My God, how could you look at that and think that's the future? I mean, dude,
I don't know, man. And it's funny is like he farmed it out to somebody else to do. So I don't know.
but
There's
then
it's almost like there's a hostage situation somewhere in between, or there's, I don't know, something shady going on between the parties.
like between the Jaguar and public taste and common
I don't know, man.
human sentience. I mean, it's insane. It was mind blowing. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. It was shocking. It was shocking to the extremity that it was at the time we were in, which was still pretty extreme.
yeah.
So
It's interesting because it ties into the other good news that I'm going to talk about, which is this Gen Z stuff. I got a couple of articles here that I want to, and I did a video about this, but it's like these people are forgetting, what Depeche Mode taught us so many years ago. People are people. People are still people. And when you go ahead and you're trying to go transhuman, when you're trying to jump over humanity to catch the next wave and you leave humanity behind. Certainly Jaguar left any humans behind that wanted to drive their fucking cars. Rob, I mean, you're kind of a business guy. When you saw that shit, what did you think?
Oh, I just thought, yeah, their shares are going way down, and nobody's gonna buy any cars, and they're gonna be out of business soon. I mean, gone are the days when that's the luxury brand that, in the famous White Snake video, "Here I Go Again," where Julie Tawny Katan was in a white sexy dress, lying across the hood of two Jaguars. That would have made for an awesome commercial now. But no, they had to go another way to market to people that don't buy their cars. And it's just ridiculous. I don't know why they were selling out for the social political need. I mean, Jaguar was a brand that was a luxury brand that was considered something stylish, something cool, a fast luxury car that was a status symbol. And now it's shit. I mean, they just totally ruined the brand. And it's we talked in school, business school, and even in my business career about how important branding is, your personal brand, your company's brand. And Jaguar just, I guess, skipped that chapter and decided that, hey, our brand's gonna be shit now, so let's put out some shit. So yeah, it's just not surprising at all. So good luck, Jaguar. Good luck with branding. You're not
Yeah, it's fucking insane. I mean, who is your market? The people that you're trying to, or excuse me, the mutants, the transhumans that you're trying to, market to, can't afford your fucking car. I mean, it's insane. And somebody in the chat was pointing out, well, their sales slipped because they halted production on their cars. Well, they halted production on their cars after they saw the ads. Like after they saw the receptions to the ads, then they said, you know what? I didn't think we're going to be selling many cars this year, boy. Do you? No, I don't think so. Do you think perhaps we should halt production lest we lose our asses even worse than we're losing them now? Yes, I think that would be very, very prudent, boy. And so, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, they're all scrambled. So what difference does it make? I mean, this was, worse than Bud Light, worse than Gillette. I mean, this was obliterating the only thing that really Jaguar had going for it, which was its image, Heather L. I mean, geez. Did it make you want to buy a Jaguar? Did it make you want to like be, driving around in a Jaguar with your hair streaming in the wind as, a strange mutant in pink hair and a strange bow tie frock like drove you around?
I can't afford a Jaguar, so I tried, some pink hair dye and those tights, like hot orange tights, but it didn't work out. So
Oh shit.
yeah, I had to go back to my normal look. Yeah,
Wow.
it was just tragic. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like for decades, right? Advertisers knew that they were selling an image and kind of how you sold that image.
Mhm.
You had kind of a James Bond type cool guy and a gorgeous, sexy woman in anything from cars to, anything that you wanted, like a high-end image, and how that guy just, that just went out the window. Let's be bold and try something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm pissed off about is that, it showed them like coming up on the surface of this strange, planet right off the, set of, Star Trek 1966, with the purple sky and the, pink
Right.
sand. The elevator just comes up like out of the ground. So they're basically, fucking with me. They're basically impugning the center of the earth, that this is what comes from the fucking center of the earth.
Yeah, kind of just implying that those people were your friends, right? That's who
Yeah,
you hang out
yeah.
with. They hang out, in your lair, and they're
I
out
took
down
it personally.
having cocktails.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they're really Harvey's friends, right? Not yours.
I've never seen them. I've never seen them.
Okay.
The implication was awful. Yeah.
Just imposters. I get
Yeah.
it.
It was very insulting and very hurtful. Sean, dude, I mean, this is what they think of the modern audience. This is the modern audience that they thought they were going to cater to, the next wave of consumers.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, usually even in weird commercials or commercials that reach out to the modern audience, you at least see people in those ads that you might see on the street walking
Mhm.
around.
Right.
I wouldn't even see these people in Castro, California, which is a little community up near San Francisco. You don't see people like this anywhere.
Well, Sean, you haven't been here in a while, buddy.
Well, that's
Uh-oh.
true.
So
Yeah, they're a little dirtier, I think, where you might see them. But yeah, this is so weird. And DC, I saw the chat, like that they hadn't produced any. Well, the reason they didn't produce any, because they had, I think it was a month that they had literally 0 purchases.
Mhm.
Not
Right.
one Jaguar was purchased. If I remember this, I'm pretty sure this is true. But yeah, like that first month after that, they didn't sell one car.
0
Right.
pre-orders, 0. Yeah. It was
So
bad.
so why would they need to produce any? There's nothing to replace.
Yeah,
But-
that's exactly right. That's
But
exactly right.
hopefully, hopefully though, they held on. I think they had like 8 or 9 different separate DEI programs that they had initiated in different hopefully they held on to those.
Yeah.
They're going to come through with some really good ideas any day now.
sure.
I mean, maybe the DEI fairy will come and, take their pink slips from under their pillows and,
Yeah.
leave them,
Literally, you're talking about Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Or that blue fairy thing that was in the live action Pinocchio. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jesus. Which
Yeah.
looked
Either
like
that or the
Cynthia
bearded
Erivo,
dude that
actually.
worked at
Was it
Disneyland
her?
selling little girls' dresses or something.
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. Arivo's going to be the new spokesman woman per thing.
Spoke
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. GQ's Man of the Year cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That was Cynthia Erivo, and I did a member video about that because it was too hot a topic to make for a regular video. But the really fucked up thing about that, the really fucked up thing, is that she does not identify as a man. Not even in her pronouns. Her pronouns are she and her. So what this was entirely GQ's idea. This was so you can't even. They're not even humoring her. They're going beyond Cynthia Erivo. And
What the hell's going on in Great Britain?
Right. And something else that relies on an image, right? GQ.
Yeah.
It's just all image.
Well, I will never. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be caught dead reading a fucking GQ anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. They really are just self-destructing. And the funny thing is, before this Jaguar rebrand, who was the model for Jaguars in their previous round of commercials? Those guys looked like Doug Nelson. Those guys were dressed like Doug Nelson. Do you remember? Like it was like, we villains are very sophisticated. I think it had Tom Hiddleston. I think they had the guy from Low Winter Sun.
Yeah.
They were being very sophisticated. They were being British, and they were a sharp dressed man like Doug Nelson, who is always the best dressed man on this panel. And and they would move Jaguars. Doug Nelson could move Jaguars, as opposed to, one of the Morlocks from the remake of the reboot of the Time Machine. Doug, what the hell happened when sharp dressed sophisticates went out of fashion and Morlocks were substituted?
Oh, well, it's a combination of things, you understand, Lord Doomcock. It appears they were in search of that quote-unquote modern audience, you understand. But, to be fair, they did have, as you described it, Jaguar was to be a representation of the elite, top of the line, a very exclusive club, as you understand. And, to be fair, that club these days is pretty damn weird. So there's probably some amount of accuracy in the approach, you understand. However, what is also true is that very elite is short of cash these days because of all the other pursuits of the quote-unquote ever elusive, mysterious, modern audience. Yes. So few have actually been able to cultivate that very audience and make a profit, But yeah, it's the weird thing about it is that, even when the Jaguar campaign came out, it was really late in the day. You had more than enough evidence to understand this was not going to work, and did it anyway, which just goes to show you that a lot of these people in these top dollar jobs are frauds. They sit around, don't really pay attention. It'll be new and improved and cool. Plus, no one bothered to look at the car itself. Was just a brick. Just a slab sitting there, so
it actually looked like something that'd be thrown onto a WNBA court.
Very good, Sean. Yes, that was the inspiration. Yes.
Well, I was gonna go in that direction and say it certainly looks like something that Pedro Pascal would lick, doesn't it?
Indeed. Yes.
I'm just, every time that one of these, extreme woke rebrands fails, and Angel gets his wings, or it really is a wonderful life.
It is. But you know what? The problem with the woke and whatnot is their enemy isn't really us. It's not, whatever, conservatives or, tradition or what have you. No, their enemy is reality.
Yes.
And what's going to happen to you when you go up against reality? Well, they didn't learn that lesson. They probably never will, I guess. I don't know, but they still get the consequences.
Yeah, they do. And, and I think it's delightful that the, quest for this mythical modern audience that does not show up, it does not exist. It really does not. I mean, they might as well be just pissing into the wind. That's really what they're doing, because look, the so-called modern audience, they're still human. And my faith, I have been very skeptical about, the up and coming generation. I have felt that through no fault of their own, that they have been somewhat impeded by social media, by the instant gratification X and Instagram and all these things, attention spans, withering, educational opportunities going down the toilet because what is education these days? Just a bunch of benchmarks and a cycle of tests, and nobody teaches analytics or rational thinking, reason anymore, logic.
Civics.
Yeah, civics. Oh my God, civics. I mean,
Yeah.
good Lord. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the downfall of the country right there.
Right.
Critical thinking is the most important skill that you can teach. And yet, I shit you not, the human spirit still finds a way. It's like it's like Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, life finds a way. And all this younger generation, I was blown away. This was an article in Yahoo Entertainment. There was another one that ran parallel, but I had too much material. I couldn't work it all into the video. But Yahoo Entertainment published this article titled, "Forget Outer Banks. These Gen Zers just want to watch MASH and Gilmore Girls." And it said why young people are obsessed with shows that were made for their parents. And it really goes into a lot of detail about these folks. Let me just quote this: nostalgia TV, that is shows that were initially released more than 10 years ago, are more popular on streaming services like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Prime Video than nearly all of their shiny new programming. Says a 2025 digital trend report released in October, and welcome Andy Masterson to the show.
Hey.
Says that series that began airing in the 2000s like Grey's Anatomy, Supernatural, and Gilmore Girls have been viewed for far more hours than current crazes like Stranger Things or Wednesday. And the reason, they say, why nostalgia TV is so popular might seem simple on the surface. These shows are familiar to longtime fans who just want to throw something on, but older shows from the 2000s and earlier, folks, are captivating members of Gen Z too. When this author posted a TikTok in search of young fans of older TV shows that received more than 900 comments, and dozens of young viewers, it says, whose last names are withheld so they could talk freely about their rabid fandoms, tell Yahoo they were introduced. Get this. They were introduced to these series by their relatives and now return to them in search of comfort and a longing for a time they didn't experience. It is fascinating. This little bit right here, is talking about how Aisha, an 18-year-old student in London, was introduced to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Full House by her older siblings who were born in the 90s and wanted to culture her. She's tried to get her friends into these shows, as well as Friends and Desperate Housewives, but it's mainly a bond she shares with her family. And what have I been saying on this show for a long time? I have been saying that Hollywood fucked up, like massively fucked up, because they alienated us in search of this modern audience, that they were like, oh no, we're not going to make shows that appeal to these, 50 somethings. We're going to make shows that, appeal to the young. Well, the 50 somethings, 40 somethings, those are the gateways to these franchises, to these old shows, these old cultures. And you see it time and time and time again. In this article, it's a long article talking about the comfort of sinking into a show from a different time, and in many cases what seems like a happier time appeals to a lot of young people. Anna, a 22-year-old student in Rhode Island, started watching the idealistic political drama The West Wing, which ran from 1999 to 2006 when she was 12. Her parents thought it might help her understand more about American government. Anna says she finds comfort in looking back on a time when America was more stable. Some young people aren't just nostalgic for the eras that their parents lived through. They're going even further back than that. When Sophie wants a little lift, she puts on vintage sitcoms like The Dick Van Dyke Show or The Mary Tyler Moore Show. The 22-year-old graduate student who lives in Texas says they reminder of a simpler time before televisions turned towards the dark and intense. No one seems to be hanging out on TV anymore, leading fans of chill, familiar comedies to reach back into the vintage TV archives in search of comfort. I mean, this is exactly, they are finding on their own and through like their parents and stuff, and older, relatives, um the great stuff in the past, and they prefer the great stuff in the past before woke, before everything was politicized, and they find it comforting. They find it entertaining. They find it, this is what Hollywood could have had if they hadn't broken the chain of custody. That's the real point here, that they alienated us. We no longer introduce kids and nephews and nieces to things like Star Wars or Star Trek, because we've written them off, because they stink, because they insulted us, because they shit on us. They turn their backs on us. And when they turn their backs on us, they turn their backs on this younger generation. What do you guys think about this? I think it's a fascinating thing. Gary, I mean, this really heartens me to some extent, that ratings are showing that they're the most popular thing on these streaming services are the older shows.
Yeah. Well, okay. So probably about a year ago, a friend of mine, who has two sons, they were like 9 and 10 at the time. I was talking to them, and I just was kind of curious about what they were watching and what they were into. And they said all old stuff. We're talking, and to a 9 and 10-year-old kid, old is like 4 years old. So like to them, I'm thinking, gosh, what is that, like 2020? And they were like, no, 90s, 80s, even some 70s. And they were telling me about shows that I like. And I was shocked. And I know their father, and their father grew up not watching any of the stuff that we watched. So that means that these kids found this on their own. Now, what's really sad to me is I have a lot of great memories of being 5 years old and going to see the new movies like Back to the Future. And that was of my generation. That movie was for me. I remember seeing these great movies in the theater that were of my time and are still good. And now I see young people going back to those movies, and they're seeking it. They're trying to find something positive and something to enjoy in a time period that they never even experienced. Which means that I wonder, like, where's their childhood? What is it they're getting out of their own generation? Is it anything? I mean, we know that kids don't play with toys, because toy sales are basically aimed toward people like us. And they're just, nobody buys Star Wars toys. Like, where were all the tie-ins with the new movies? Indiana Jones is dead. All of these, old sort of classic franchises are pretty much gone. What do they have of their own time? Like, where's their Indiana Jones? Where's their Star Wars? They don't have anything. They have to go to something that they didn't even grow up knowing. They have to go look for it. They have to go dig for treasure, basically. That's bizarre to me.
It's sad.
It's really sad.
Very sad.
Like what do they have?
Yeah. And the other thing about it is that so many of the stuff that they are watching or they experience over the last 5-10 years is so negative and decisive and social political. It's like, everything is politicized because of all the people trying to control everything in this world, that it's gotten to the level where the kids, everything that they watch is somewhat politicized too. And they're going back to stuff that we watch that we like because they want something positive. They want something enjoyable. They want something with a happy ending at the end of this show that they can maybe learn a value or just have a good time with.
Right. Like, they're actually looking for just something to enjoy, some little nugget of enjoyment. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
more
like they're in the
likely.
desert and it's like, oh my gosh, like to quote Eddie Murphy, it's a Ritz cracker. Oh my gosh. That was the best damn cracker I ever
Yeah.
had. You know, like,
Yeah.
like those, I feel
Well, but
really bad for them.
well, by
I mean,
now the current shows and whatnot have got to come across as very stale, even for someone young. I mean, they had, because most of them are they're very similar. You know, how many times have we seen a TV series, supposedly it's only 8 episodes a season, and yet it's just one episode stretched across 8 episodes. They really, most of them we think, this might have worked if it was just a movie, maybe, you know, that kind of thing. And that's across the board with these shows. There's very little creativity. There's a lot of technical stuff and special effects that's, you know, new and all that. But as far as the actual narrative and story and whatnot, it's pretty flat. Then you go back and look at an old show and it's like it's not surprising to me at all that some of them would be kind of blown away by it when they're actually intrigued and in depth into what the story is, regardless of, you know, the technical abilities of the time and whatnot. You get past that and then there's something here, you know. And I was always taken aback by the young for quite a while here, because I remember when I was young, most of the stuff that I enjoyed were already dead. Star Trek was gone before I was born. All that stuff, these were all reruns, you know. But you know, it was good. And when the work can stand on its own, it stands the test of time. And you see results of that. A lot of this stuff today, it's not going to do that.
Yeah. Also, the lack of male figures that are anything more than bumbling idiots. I mean, you've got every single show that has a lead male character that's a bumbling fool.
That's and that's created a huge void in all of this, because like Gary's talking about Indiana Jones and everything. Well, where's our Indiana Jones today? He doesn't exist, you know?
Right. That's true. And you know, the thing is that these idiots in Hollywood in pursuing this, you know, ridiculous modern audience nonsense, this fictional construct that they've built up in their own minds, has really destroyed their studios. I mean, is it any coincidence, do you think, that, you know, Skydance recently, you know, acquired Paramount, and now Warner Brothers is about to be acquired by someone? These are venerable old studios. These are Hollywood history. And Hollywood is dying. Hollywood is just withering and being acquired because they have tragically miscalculated. This is really interesting. This is what they could have had. Get this. For some young people, returning to the same characters and storylines from their favorite rewatchable shows over and over again reveals new layers each time. Get this. Stella, 20, has been obsessed with The Big Bang Theory, a sitcom about a gaggle of socially awkward geniuses that ran from 2007 to 2019, since her sister got the DVD box set for Christmas when she was 6. The Kentucky-based student says that 90% of the jokes went over her head at the time. Watching it as I grew up, I got more and more of the jokes. It was almost like the episodes were new in a way, even though I've seen them 1,000 times. In other words, she was learning about our world through this, you know, moderately amusing show. But, you know, it's centered on, you know, comic books and Star Trek and Star Wars and stuff. And it was like a gateway to all of the things, the franchises that used to be the crown jewels of these, you know, studios. And they've just squandered them the fuck away. It's astonishing to me that all of this is going on. And I find it really quite exciting. I mean, my God, there's one of these girls, Kirsten, 26-year-old from Indiana, estimates that she's seen every episode of Little House on the Prairie at least 10 times.
Wow.
It's such a comfort show to me. One of those things I can just watch over and over again. She tells Yahoo of the historical drama series, which ran from 74 to 83. I cry, I laugh, and I now think Pa Ingalls is the hottest man to ever exist.
You see, guys,
well, Michael Landon was in good shape.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
But he's the male archetype, you know, and
that makes me really sad. just hearing what Doom just read, because I can imagine these kids, they're in their little like crummy apartments, like, you know, they don't have anything to look forward to. And this girl watches Little House on the Prairie like she's watched the whole show 10 times over. She's cried. It affects her. It you know, it hits her heart. You know, she's got it hits her right in the heart. And like, it's like this dystopian future where these kids who are abandoned, you know, like they're abandoned by people like the studios. Like, if you don't like our new woke crap, then screw you. Because they don't make stuff for those kind of people, which are normal people, normal young people. They have nothing to offer them. So it's like, where do they go? They're kind of like abandoned. They're culturally abandoned. That's wild.
Yeah,
man. It really is. It really is. And also, it just reveals how horribly Hollywood is miscalculated. That you know, I mean, I've said it a fucking million times, you know, like in primitive tribes, you know, the passing of the oral tradition down through the ages preserved the identity of the tribe. It kept them together. It kept new generations on the same page. It preserved their culture. And yet it's heartening to me that people are finding their way back to the culture that has basically abandoned us and vindicates us in saying, you know what, you guys were onto something here. You guys, we love your shows. We want to live in your world. I mean, they look back at our past and they say, yeah, you know, it was better. And they want to go back. Get this, Amanda, 45-year-old who lives in Georgia, watches a lot of the same TV she always has, but now alongside her 13-year-old daughter. Elise, who prefers Gilmore Girls, Friends, I Love Lucy, Designing Women, and Golden Girls to Newer Fare.
Wow.
Says revisiting Gilmore Girls with Elise has given her a new perspective on mother-daughter relationships and made her more sympathetic to Rory's teenage mistakes. It's not always perfect, and it's not always politically correct, but we talk about it, Amanda says of the older shows the pair watches together. To be able to go back and share this with my daughter is really special. And you know what they do when they're driving around in the car and listening on the radio? They like quiz each other on the songs that come up, the old songs. I mean, it's just
wow.
Yeah, I mean,
this is yet another prediction that our last movie, Demolition Man, made. You know, like these people who are nostalgic for the commercials of an old era that they never experienced, but they get some sort of like actual joy out of it because they're crammed into this wacko socialist utopia.
Right.
That's wild. I mean, I Love Lucy is what, 70 years old?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And what
70-year-old show.
Yeah. Yeah. And what does it reinforce? Traditional values. I mean, yes, Lucy is wacky, but she's like presented as an outlier. In other words, you know, he goes out, he works, she's at home spending his money, trying to, you know, break into his act and, you know, mess up his shit. But it's zany and it's lovable. You know, it's something that it's human. It's human.
Yeah. The humor is something that everyone can relate to, right? And these weirdos who are writing current shows, they don't identify with normal people.
No.
That's why everyone's had to go back to the past. When you watch these new shows, it just doesn't sit right. You're like, normal people don't talk like this. They don't have conversations like this. It feels so off, and everything's morally gray. People like good guys and bad guys, heroes and villains. They like relatable characters who have faults. There are lessons in these shows. I mean, a lot of these things are timeless, regardless of like the time and the lifestyle, whatever lifestyle they had then. The characters, the people are relatable as human beings. And they've really lost that. But it's sad for this generation, like Gary said, to not have something that's their own, because I was introduced to a lot of shows. Like my grandma introduced me to Star Trek. We used to watch it together all the time. My mom introduced me to classic movies and to Twilight Zone. We used to watch that together all the time. But then I had the things that came out in my generation that I saw with my friends. And so it's great that they're discovering all these old new shows. I mean, I like really old shows from the 60s that I never saw before, but they're missing that component that they don't have their own, and that's pretty sad.
And they talk about the writing and they talk
Yeah.
about the acting, because guess
Mhm.
what? The modern audience is human and still respond. I mean, we still respond to shit that was written in, the 1600s by William Shakespeare, the 1500s. I
Right.
mean, because it's humanity has not changed at heart.
Bingo.
The technology has changed, but love, hate, jealousy, revenge, all these themes, a lot of the humor is the same. Listen to this. I'm 24 and my favorite TV show is MASH. Rosie, a New
Yeah.
Yorker who works in a museum, tells Yahoo she knows it's a little funny that she's hooked on a show that ended nearly 20 years before she was born, but she's not alone. There's a lot to talk about. She says it's a brilliantly written TV show with a perfect mix of comedy and drama.
Mhm.
While our lives are not necessarily like the characters, we are living in a similar time period with regard to societal unrest and change. So a lot of the messages and themes feel very relevant.
Wow.
And that show did a great job of putting out a message of peace. It was anti-war, but it didn't preach at you. It didn't lecture you. It didn't criticize the current government. It did it in a funny, thoughtful way, which they just seem incapable of doing now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you had a lot of writers then who had really a wealth of life experience and whatnot. So that's tough to beat when you
That's
got people
another
who
big thing. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of the writers now just watch old shows.
Yes.
Modern writers, they just watch what came before them, but the older writers were, they were in military service. They had real jobs. They had real experiences. Some were firefighters. Some of them might have been cops. Some of them might have been politicians. They might have been carpenters. They really did things, like they were real people with real lives who, had learned a skill or a trade or was involved in something greater than the cinema industry.
Mhm.
Right.
And their lives were beyond whatever they see on social media and on streaming channels, which is how writers, that's their credentials now,
Yeah.
Well, and they weren't handed a job or handed a role or a raise because of their social, political, or gender background. They actually earned it through actual writing and learning to write and learning how to do it. A lot of these kids today were in the past couple of years have been promoted because of they fit into whatever checkbox the Hollywood company wants to promote.
Absolutely. And lest you think that this article is just an outlier, I got another one by The Ankler, which is an industry insider publication. The headline was Gen Z is huge, their TV shows are tiny, and Hollywood is panicking. And let me read the first paragraph. Underlying the discussion, the uneasy reality that TV once defined young adulthood. Now Gen Z defines culture, and TV is struggling to keep up. Viewership data backs this up. 65% of what 16 to 34-year-olds watch is library TV, not new series. In other words, the dominant youth audience isn't discovering new Hollywood shows, they're rewatching old ones.
Well, that's good because that means they're actually finding quality, and they're looking for it because they see a lack of quality. It's kind of ironic today. Walter Tomaszewski sent me a couple of videos. One is Disney destroying itself, and another one is why movies don't look like movies anymore. And he really summed it up very well in some commentary put on there about these two. That they're making these programs that draw attention to themselves, and they don't engage with the audience. They fight with the audience. They lecture to the audience. They don't relate to the audience, and that's I think the biggest problem is because it's humanity is humanity. We're all the same things. The same things that people wanted 100 years ago are basically the same things they want today. They want a better life. They want to have more time with their family. They want to have more things that they can do together and look back on. and nobody wants to be lectured by people. They don't want to be tuned in. Like, you get enough of that. Like, it's funny. Years ago, I went down south to Kentucky, and my wife and I were down there, and I noticed on the news report up in the East Coast, everything is negative. You turn on the TV, there's this many shootings in Philly, there's this many robberies in Camden, all these things, and like you're getting this very fearful message. We went down to Kentucky, and it started off with a feel-good 4-H fair kind of story, and then in the middle they would kind of get into some of the more dour things they had to report on, and then they would have the sports and the weather, and they would end on a happy note. And now it seems like every vehicle is there trying to stoke some fear, stoke some outrage, and I understand it because it sells. Human beings we tend to notice things that make us afraid more so than things that make us feel good. They did a study where if you have a negative shopping experience, you're likely to tell 10 people. If you have a positive shopping experience, you're likely to tell 2 people. So it's just in our wiring that we will be drawn to the train wreck. But it's not helpful to sit there and stare that long. And I think that's why these kids are going to the old stuff, because they had happy messages. It gave you an idea that, yes, the world is kind of crappy and stuff like that. But look, there are some good things in it.
No, absolutely. It's a fascinating thing, and it fills me with a lot of hope that, essentially, I think Hollywood thought that they controlled the narrative, that that if they fuck what the audience wants, that if they go ahead and pound this enough, that it will rewrite what the audience wants, that they will tag along, and then they will embody these values that they were basically trying to, brainwash, pound into the audience. And all they're doing is just say, hey, we've got all this great stuff on, DVD, and we're just going to go back and watch these. And because the human spirit longs to be free. The human spirit longs for quality, for humanity, for connection. And they're finding it in the past, kind of like the Star Trek episode All Our Yesteryears, where Mr. Atoz sends you back from the dying present to the past world of your choice, and basically streaming and DVDs, Blu-rays are the Atavachron from that episode. They'll take you back wherever you want to go and watch whatever the hell you want. And I guess that's why Hollywood regrets ever giving us access to DVDs, and that's why I always say hoard them, treasure them, and don't let them die. Because
at the core of all these stories you read was always the spark or the start of it was, well, my family. See, the family, that was always there. And and they wanted to break that connection. The mindset is always adamantly against the nuclear family and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't succeed. I mean, again, their enemy is reality, and ultimately, the kids are going to have conversations with their parents, their brothers, and so on. And all it takes is that one little, well, yeah, there was this show and it was really good and I really like it. I'll look at it and then, this is different. I haven't seen something like this before. And then the curiosity goes and they explore other things, and there you go.
Here's another thing that we need to throw on there. 2020 threw these kids into a big mess.
Yeah.
They couldn't go to school. They didn't have the social structure. They were doing everything online. If they did go to school, they were segregated into little boxes, and it messed a lot of kids up. I know my niece had a hard time, and she graduated high school in that, and a lot of other friends of mine that have kids had to do therapy the last couple of years just because of what a stress and how bad the pandemic and the restrictions on kids were during the pandemic. And you add that with putting social, political worries on these kids that are just growing up, trying to figure out who they are, what they can do, what their gifts are, learning how to be kids. And you're already putting adult-like pressures on them. That's stressful enough. I mean, I feel sorry for that generation. I mean, it's been handed a whole lot of garbage.
No, it has. And, you know, they make this in the second article, they make the point, they list a number of old shows and they say these shows connected because they're about love and work and how things change when the first of the crew has a baby, buys a house, gets a new job, relatable milestones to deconstruct, laugh about, and celebrate. But Gen Z doesn't have much to celebrate in those arenas. Unemployment rates for young workers hit 10.8% over the summer, compared to 4.3% overall. And when they are on the job, they're miserable. They feel undervalued. AI and other forces mean, as a source recently told New York Magazine, quote, "There's just no reason to deal with the headache of having young employees who frequently do the wrong thing, who frequently, you know, take up time and space," unquote. As for love, get this, folks. Not only are fewer of them dating than in previous generations, but according to a recent survey from datingadvice.com and Kinsey, nearly half of Gen Z adults have never even had sex.
Wow.
Man.
And I read an article in Rolling Stone that said that a lot of Gen Z men are just giving up on that shit because they don't want to be recorded. They don't want to be, you know, outed on Twitter or humiliated with some kind of dating mishap gone wrong or some kind of slander or something. They figure, you know what, shit, I'm just going to stay home and jerk off or something because it's just not worth the risk, the very real risk. And if I was in their shoes, shit, I might damn well feel the same way because holy shit, think of the risk that you're taking in getting in a relationship these days. You don't know, you know, if your target is a wokey, is gonna, you know, pound me too, is gonna, you know, God knows what, right?
Yeah.
So
it has quite the impact, you know, it's always that risk.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, why even take it, you know? And I mean, look, that's the whole, what was the message? The message is you're a man, you're evil. You know,
right.
Yeah. Try being a woman, you know?
The irony here
is
the irony here is that they're living the life that most married people do by doing that. Hey, well, now you know.
It's just like you never know. Like when you approach like a young woman, I suppose if you're a Gen Z guy, you never know if that woman is suddenly going to turn out to be Donald Sutherland raising their finger at you and going, "Oh,
yeah,
like
yeah,
at the
exactly.
end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers." And if they're going to see you as a black smoking lump at the end of Time Bandits.
Yeah, it's the old days that she could always just say, "No, I'm not into you." And that was the worst thing that could happen. You know, now
right.
I don't know. You could.
My kids are right in the thick of this. My kids are right in the thick of this with and it's all happening on both sides, different issues. My daughter, she's like she's talked to several guys and they'll do this thing like where it's this non-committal dance. And it's like then they're supposed to call and they don't call. Then they just kind of ghost and I think they get cold feet or whatever. And my son, like, he was dating this one girl from Bangladesh, and then that kind of like they just kind of like faded out, and then he heard from some other friends that like kind of dodged a bullet because she got a little crazy with some stuff. But it is so confusing. Years ago, I had said to this younger kid that I teach, younger, he was probably about in his early 20s at the time, and my daughter was, I think, about 16 or so. And I said to him, "Listen, you're younger. I need some advice here. I don't know how to address some of this. Like, I look at my daughter. She's an honor student. She is a gymnast. She plays in the band. She's bubbly. She's funny." You know, and I recognized, yes, I cursed her with my nose, but still, like, I I can't understand why no guys are asking her out. And he stops and he says to me, well, you're not going to understand this because like when you were young, if a girl turned you down, you would have that embarrassment for about 5 minutes or so, maybe the rest of the day, and then it would be over. Nowadays, if you say something, if you ask a girl out and she shoots you down, she's on her phone, putting it on social media. She's telling all of her friends, and you can't get away from it. Everybody, everywhere you see, is chuckling and laughing at you because you had like the the balls to go and ask somebody out and get shot down. And so it's like the pressure is enormous, and it's like and then I think the girls are worse. They do these campaigns where they will work on ostracizing the other girls. Like, I mean, guys, when we used to get into a fight, yeah, we might shove each other, punch each other, stuff like that, but then it was over. The girls, it never stops. It's like they're not happy until like the girl that they're upset with, who they were friends with last week, is now a pariah that everyone won't go near. And it's a frightening time. And I think it's going to get worse as technology increases.
Yeah.
We're looking at things changing in such ways so fast that by the time you get used to the idea, I mean, we're already seeing it now. Like the new TVs come out, and by the time I get one, I'm like 2 models behind. Yeah. I can't tell the difference. I mean, I grew up on rabbit ears and fuzzy channels. It's like a broadcast. But wow, it's just so different. And I'm really kind of nervous about what it holds for the future and will we be able to adapt?
Yeah. Well, it's no surprise that, these kids are looking for validation and experience in the past. They're looking for a time when people were freer, when people were more human, when stories were told with humans in mind, as opposed to political agendas and whatnot. So,
But
I don't know.
hopefully they get a lesson in some kind of morality and just how to treat people as a human being from watching these older shows, because that's terrible what Andy said. I mean, why? I mean, just the idea that some people would do this and make fun of everyone on social media. I mean, it's just horrible that they treat people that way. Like, where have their parents been? Like, treating them how to just be a good person. Like, I know social media and the internet has made like the bullying stuff a lot worse, but I mean, try to be a decent human being.
I agree. I agree. But I do nevertheless find hope, because like they point out in these articles, Gary's looking a little distressed at all this. He just looks sad. I'm sorry, man. But on these articles, they talk about that there are, chat groups and, just like we did in the day, fans of these old shows. Gen Z fans are getting together and analyzing them and talking about them. It's shit. There's even some for Gilligan's Island, for fuck's sake. And that is not a milestone of TV. And yet there are, groups of Gen Z fans that are out there that bond around this stuff. And, it's almost, Gary, it's almost like Fahrenheit 451. Remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Where they would memorize a book and they'd be that living book because they were burning the books, the hopes that someday they would be reconstituted.
That's that's a perfect metaphor for that. And those people ended up becoming the book.
Right.
That was what their lives were for, was to preserve this, one singular piece of history that was, considered great and beautiful of a time, that is no longer, that is gone forever. And this is sad, man. Like it's rough when they have to go backwards in time to get something nice, and it's okay if they like old stuff, but they don't have anything of their own time period to cherish.
Right.
That's rough. That's rough to me. That makes me really feel bad for them, because I have so much, I have a lot of my time to cherish, and they have nothing.
Well, I don't think they have nothing. I think there are still good shows being made. They're just fewer and farther between. They're very hard to find. You know,
I
that's
guess,
the
but you'd
problem.
think that if they, they're kind of like divining rods for something they like. If they're finding I Love Lucy, why the heck can't they find something new in their own generation? You would think
Yeah.
they'd be able
Right.
to, because that's more heavily advertised. That is what is more regularly available. Yet they're finding things that are hidden. They're digging. So maybe there really isn't, Doom, something that of their era that they can actually cherish.
Well,
That's what that I mean. You like, I didn't even realize how serious this was until you brought up this subject tonight, and now I'm thinking about it in my mind. I'm like, my God, maybe they really don't have anything of their own era.
No,
yeah.
they don't. I mean, because easily by comparison, like I said, all the new shows are very stale, and beyond just wokeism and all that stuff, they're just very flat, lazily done, stale shows. You go and see something that, if there's a reason why they're called classics, because they achieve something, and even the one basic shows, have something there, some spark of creativity or art to it. And a human mind will recognize it on some level, and even these young people did. But ultimately, the sad part is they've been robbed years. And all the time going through this. What grinded my gears was that I'm losing these years for new Star Wars and Star Trek and so on, and it pissed me off, because even if somebody came in and righted the boat, which they never did, but even if they did, it's too late, because I only have so many years left in that kind of thing. But for someone younger, they too are being robbed, because unlike them, when I was their age and stuff, yes, like Gary, I had new shows at the time that were pretty much on par with that. I still thought the older ones in some cases were better and all that. They set standards and whatnot, but nevertheless, people were trying. They tried. The 90s was a great era for movies and whatnot. The 80s was probably even better, but people tried. They were looking for different weight vehicles and whatnot, and all that. There's none of it. So Gen Z was completely robbed of that.
Yeah.
There's no imagination, no creativity, no nothing. I mean, we even rehash from it. Yeah. We even rehash our old superheroes only to turn them into trash in the last couple of years. And these kids were discovering them with maybe, Endgame and Infinity War. And oh wow, we got this superhero that I can look up to, and then it becomes, a trashy figure in Marvel's next iteration, because Marvel had to politicize them instead of tying something to the past that somebody could go back and enjoy some of the stuff and maybe see some hope for the future that will relate to them, and we connect the generations. There's no connection.
They thought that they could go ahead and corrupt the culture of Western culture, our superheroes, our Star Trek, Star Wars. They thought they could corrupt it and reshape it into something new that would then reshape the coming generation, when really what they should have done is engage us, get us engaged, so we would then pass it on to them. Their social engineering experiment has failed.
Yes,
it has utterly failed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they're by their own very rules, like they've given us this sort of ultimatum. Well, if you don't like our stuff, then don't watch it, which is basically kind of canceling out and telling us to fuck off. Right. That's, all of us on the panel, our age, they're basically going to do that with these newer generations. Well, if you don't like our shit, then get fucked. And that's now they're really being abandoned. Now they're being canceled. So who's left? Who's left?
Nothing.
Well,
but out of these, by this philosophy,
but out of these ashes, these kids may be building up something that then comes back, that revitalizes entertainment, that revitalizes music, culture, and leaves these dinosaurs in the dust. Their day is done. Their day is fucking done already.
Yeah, it's probably been over for quite a while. It takes a while to recognize it all, as it all rolls out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the hopeful sign, is like, if you're in the industry, this is something that you need to pay very close attention to, this of what you need to produce for that young audience, of what might attract them to your product. You know, that's all you can do.
Or
And
what
you're gonna
was
have
it
to
about
actually
the old
create
stuff?
some real art?
Right. What was it about the old stuff? The solution is not
Right,
Gilligan's
right.
Island, the next generation.
No, no reboots and all that. No, stupid.
Right.
But what was it? What was the
basics.
comedy? The
Yes.
comedy of Gilligan's Island, the comedy of I Love Lucy, you know, the
Mhm.
comedy of the Dick Van Dyke Show. Warm, human, relatable, creative, and free. You
And
know,
here's the reality you have to acknowledge. You can't deny it. They're going to notice that. They're going to go sooner or later. They're going to have to put their phone down and live in the real world. And gee, it's just not like they told me it was. And that's right.
Right. It's like introducing these woke elements and these bullshit elements that don't ring true is just like, you know, creating a dissonance in a dream, like in Inception. Like if you go ahead and turn the sky upside down, then the dreamer starts to realize that someone else has invaded their dream and takes them out of the dream, and then like antibodies they attack. That's what's kind of going on. They are jumping ship. And I mean, yes, there's an element of sadness to it. Yes, it's dark, but there's also an element of hope, and that is what I'm kind of focused on. And you know, it's nice to know that even with all of this shit that's going on, this generation of kids are still human. They're still yearning for greatness, and Hollywood, they failed. They're going to either have to give them that or pass into irrelevance as other forms of entertainment become supreme.
They'll get it from somewhere. Somebody will give that you know, that what they seek to them. They will find it. It's just, you know, it won't be through the old guard.
No,
you create a void, something fills it. It's like, boy, the anime really took over. Well, you created a void.
Oh my
God! You thought you could take time to they were yours to do with as you please. No, that's not how that works. And you can lie to somebody for a while, but when they realize you've lied to them, heaven help you, you're never going to get them back. You know. Now they started realizing, oh, you were lying to me all that time.
That's right. And as a result, Paramount has fallen. It's been absorbed by a new media company. Warner Brothers looks like they're going to get either snatched up by Comcast possibly or Netflix, right?
It's looking more like Paramount's still in the lead on that one. And Netflix is, I think, trying to spoil it so that they can push them to split up the company and pick off pieces, that kind of anyway. But nevertheless, yes, it says, boy, these have been great years, have they? No, I mean, Warner Brothers specifically, this is a company, this will be the third time they're being bought. You know,
and it is sad because Warner Brothers was, in my opinion, the greatest of the Hollywood studios. You know, and same thing with Paramount, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
Paramount brought us Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, I mean, these are true Hollywood institutions, and it's a symptom of how fucked up and lost Hollywood is, that they are no longer viable on their own.
Right. But and it's already gone. You know, it's just what replaces it. And ultimately, a lot of this comes down to, you're looking at the guys in charge now. They're like the spoiled great grandkids of the geniuses who created it all. And so each success, sometimes the son can do as good. Occasionally the son will surpass the father, but usually not. The father did it all. He was the man. He built it. And then the son learned from him. He can kind of shepherd it. But then his kid, because they didn't struggle. They didn't have to scratch and claw to make this thing, you know? So it's very difficult. You can't really give him the experience. He has to experience something. He needs a challenge for him to be creative and whatnot and figure things out. But when he's a spoiled, rotten brat, well, you know what you get. Well, we got what we got for the past 15 years. You know?
Who's that girl that's the granddaughter of Walt Disney, and all she does is like trash him and and
Yeah.
talk crap about him. I don't even know that she's old enough to have any memories of him. Like, what was she, 5 years old when he died, and she's going to sit there and and it's, years ago I was on one of the chat forums, and some girl decided to chime in and say that Captain America would have been some racist, misogynistic, whatever. And I said, you have no idea what you're talking about. And she proceeds to tell me how much she studied all these things in her college classes. And I said, well, I grew up with parents of this generation, and I'm telling you, you're full of shit. And you're learning from this. You're learning this stuff from a corrupted source that wants you to think that.
Yeah.
But the reality wasn't like that. Remember back, we're all old enough to remember back when people would wave to each other on the streets, and now you have to look around and wonder who's sneaking up behind you, whether it's somebody completely malicious or just some jackass that wants views on his camera and he wants to do something stupid and you're his prop. You don't. It's a completely different world, but at least people had respect for each other back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people
with
like
that,
to look
Gary-
back on shows that reflect that and yearn for that world. And that, it's out there. I do that. I mean, I do that now.
I do too.
I mean, I look back and I think, my God, the freedom of not being under constant surveillance, walking down the street and not having a camera on every corner, like old Twilight Zone episodes, Shit, the Twilight Zone is more comforting than modern reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To what Andy was just saying about, not knowing what people are going to do. Thankfully, I live in an area where if I'm going for a walk, every car that passes me, they wave. The kids in our neighborhood, they say hello to you. There's a kid up the street, he's got to be 13, and I'll pass him, and he just is like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, good, how are you? And he goes, I'm doing really well, thanks. It's like he's the most polite guy I've ever met, and he's like 13. He gives me a fist bump when I walk by him. I'm lucky, but
so tell us how we
hope.
get to live in 1952. How did you? Where's your 1950 neighborhood, and how do we move there?
Well, maybe it's just Texas. I don't know, but I do have hope because I see the kids in my neighborhood. They're on bikes. They're running around throwing the football. They're playing outside, and they don't have their phones in their hands, even in their pocket. They're outside doing stuff, having adventures, going into the fields, and it's all over. So kind of what you were saying, DC, I have hope too from this because we're still human. The human being has not changed. We all yearn for those things, and try as these people might, they are not going to snuff that out. Yeah. And they'll find it. So yeah, I feel bad for the Gen Z. They lost a lot of time. We almost lost a generation, but they still have that instinctive need and they're seeking these things out. And now that Gen X is we're becoming grandparents now, I'm not yet, I think, better not. I'm looking at you, girl. But I, like a lot of Gen X are gonna start raising Gen Alpha a little bit, and I think we'll get it back. The next gen, they're going to connect with us with this, and we can help bring them back. So any parents out there, grandparents, show this stuff to your kids, show it to your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews. Just put on a show and just start laughing, and they're going to be curious what you're looking at, and they'll be interested.
100%, man. Yeah. 100%. So let's go ahead and get to some super chats here, and then we're going to talk about Stranger Things. Is it what it was cracked up to be? Is it a good finale, or is it letting us down? Let's go ahead and do a few super chats here. Thank you guys for your patience. All right, folks, pretty darn good discussion here. I really have enjoyed this, but gosh, Y'all have been patient. Let's get to some of these here super chat things because y'all deserve to have them read. FKHC 2005 with $1.99 super chat. Hail to you, FKHC 2005 says, sing the song. Oh, wait, it's not that day yet. No, sir. It is not that day as of yet. But nice one. Clint Skinner, 007. Gifted 2 Overlord DVD memberships to this channel. God bless you, Clint Skinner. We really appreciate all of our channel members. Put out a pretty darn good channel member video just a few days ago. And we do that every week, uncensored and demonetized for you guys. So thank you. We appreciate all of our channel members and they keep our channel going. So thank you. Descend into Madness with a $5 super chat. Hail to you, Descend into Madness says, good movie. You should do Cutthroat Island sometime. It's much more fun than its unfair reputation makes it out to be. Yeah, I've never seen Cutthroat Island. I don't even remember who the hell is in it. Hail
Gina
to you.
Davis.
Really? She is in that one as well?
Yeah, it's a pirate movie.
Oh,
Female
that's
pirate.
right. That's right. Rennie Harlan.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now I remember. Hail to you, Descend into Madness. Well, perhaps we will check it out if there's any Gina Davis fans after our Long Kiss Goodnight analysis. Clint Skinner with a 007 with a $5 super chat. Hail to you, Clint Skinner. He says, for those who haven't made vacation plans yet, Route 66 is celebrating its centennial next year. All sorts of things are being planned. Wow, interesting. Wow. Okay, cool. I didn't think Route 66 was still around. I thought it had basically passed into history, but it's nice to know it's still out there. It's kind of comforting in a way, just like the old TV show with Martin Milner and George Maharis. Yeah, old show. We were talking about old shows. Well, that's one of them. Pretty good one too, by the way. If you really want to see a groundbreaking TV show, Route 66 was it, because it was one of the first. In fact, it was probably the first network TV show that was shot almost entirely on location. They actually traveled around the country, and you can see slices of America in the 50s that have vanished. It really is something interesting to watch if you ever can find it. Descend into Madness with a $5 super chat and a $10 super chat. God bless you, Descend into Madness. Thank you, my friend, for being here tonight. And he says, I read an article earlier about how Iger has remade Disney World in his own image. Is anyone still going to Disney parks? They shouldn't. Yeah, I read. In fact, I think Rob Wright sent me a little something about Disney parks this time. I've been ill, folks. I've been ill since Sunday, so I haven't been on top of things. But maybe Rob will tell us a little bit about that in a little bit here. But yeah, there's a lot of weird shit about the parks these days. Descend into Madness also says, be here Friday night for Sabu and the Skull of Calderon's Friday Night Frolics. There will be comedy, music, multiple choruses of the daughter of Harvey Cthulhu and the Swami by the name of Harvey. How well you know us, Descend into Madness. And we will also be dusting off our Christmas season song parodies, which are some of the funniest ones I've ever done. Thank you, Descend into Madness. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days. The amazing Kurt James. Hail to you, Kurt, with a $10 super chat. Great to see you, Kurt. He says, hail, fellows and friends and freaks. Hail, Xanadoom. Happy Hump Day. Hail, PCB, panel, wrenches, chat, and our Lord Doomcock. Looking forward to tonight's proceedings and pandemonium. Well, I think it's been a really good show so far. I mean, it's really nice when we dig into a topic like this and it just kind of takes off, this is the kind of discussion I really enjoy and that I think is very, very productive. Nemo Nova has been a channel member for 10 months now. Hello to you, dear lady. Hail to Nemo Nova. She says, and we're here for you. I am delighted, Nemo Nova. You're always here for me, you dear. And I just think you're awesome. And thank you so much for joining us tonight and every night that you do, Ranger Jedi, as opposed to Ranger Doug of Riders in the Sky, has been a channel member 51 months. Hail to you, Ranger Jedi. Says 51 months of being a member. Absolutely fantastic, Ranger Jedi. You effing rock. Hail to you, brother. Thank you for being a channel member. And hail to Temlakos. who has renewed their channel membership at the Dumentite level. Hail to you, Tem Lakos. We really appreciate it. He's even got my family crest. This is badge of honor. Hail to you, Tem Lakos, and thank you for being here tonight. And Jack White, who is an anime, manga, and gaming expert, with a $2 super chat. In regards to our discussion about Jaguar, he says spokes mutant is the term you're looking for. Yes, the commercial had had the fucking spoke mutants, and that was their downfall. That was their downfall. Bun 299 with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, Bun. Bun 299 says, I loved Stranger Things 5 Part 1, save for one little bit. Robin's little speech to Will, which felt like it was some holdover from an earlier draft. A speech about friendship would have fit better. Yeah. There were some parts of this that seemed out of place and even somewhat woke. But we're going to talk about that here, Bun 299, in just a few minutes. Thank you, Bun. Radioactive Actual with a $5 super chat, and a very good point here. Radioactive Actual says, DC, it's not a Jaguar, it's a Draguar with 4-wheel DEI drive and a no-speed gender fluid transmission. It goes from 0 to 69 kilometers an hour in no time. Hail to you, Radioactive Actual. Shit, you should have been a copywriter for Draguar. I think you are 110% correct in this, sir. Scott V with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, Scott V. He says, hail Doomcock and panel. I want to say happy anniversary to my mom and dad on their 63rd year of marriage. Wow. Both are 82 and are in pretty good health. Not sure where I would be without them. Live long and prosper all. Gee whiz. Scott V's parents, happy anniversary. 63 years of marriage. That is, wow. We're finding lots of things to be inspired by on this episode, aren't we? Scott V, congratulations to them. You tell them that the future ruler of Earth, Dictor Van Doomcock, congratulates them on a true milestone. Wow. That's awesome. And Jack White with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, Jack White. Jack says not every single male-led series has a main male lead who's a buffoon. The Terminalist, Bosch, Reacher are examples of that. They are just very few and far between. Yeah. Oh, so he's saying not every single male-led series has a male lead who's a buffoon. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. But there are too many of them. And it's not just series, it's movies, it's commercials, for God's sakes. How many commercials have you seen where the mom is the long-suffering wise one and the dad is a complete fucking idiot doing stupid shit? The worst commercial I ever fucking saw was one where this kid was batting in a backyard game or something, and he swings the bat and whacks dad right in the nuts with it, and it's supposed to be funny. And the mom makes a face like, and it's just like, I can't describe it. It was really, really obnoxious. It wouldn't have been funny, I guess, if mom had gotten the same treatment, but it was funny because dad was hurt. And that shit, that is really fucking awful. Rito Saurus, been a channel member 7 months at the Dumentite level. Hail to you, Rito Saurus. He says, it's not just old TV shows and movies, but also video games. The industry is pricing itself to extinction, and old games and consoles have come back. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Listen, I love getting, used games and playing older games and stuff, it's really a lot more fun in a lot of ways. I think that gamers are on the front edge of this battle to save pop culture, because man, they fall on woke games and devour them and rip the companies that make them apart, like, angry mutant piranhas, amphibious mutant piranhas. They just jump on them and strip them down to their bones and reject them and spit them out before they have a chance to take root. Look at the, fail guard. Remember all that shit? I mean, it's just a wonderful thing to see. They are so keyed into woke shit. They do not suffer it. They do not suffer it even for a minute. Jack White, who is an anime and gaming expert here, with a $10 super chat and a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack. He says, and this is mainly a problem with the Western entertainment sphere. There's a reason anime and manga is kicking the Western entertainment industry's ass and will continue to for the foreseeable future. This is all a result of the personal is political and everything is political mentality, the Marxist and globalist subversion of institutions. 100%. I mean, I can't argue with that at all. It was the educational infiltration by these people, getting them in professors, turning out students that are indoctrinated and brainwashed, and now they're running studios, they're running writers' rooms, and there's a really the kind of the source of all this, these tumors, these cultural tumors, all this vandalism that's going on in Western civilization. It's a fucking disgrace. It's like a coup d'etat almost. But humans are striking back. The people that they thought would be weak-minded and bullied and brainwashed are just turning to the past and rediscovering our values. Oops. Guess y'all fucked up, huh? And Kurt James with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, Kurt James. Kurt James says, canceled all my streaming services and purchased Star Trek, the original series. Have been enjoying watching it from the beginning. Was driving recently and listening to DC on Patreon review Balance of Terror. Amazing essay. Thank you, Kurt James. Yes, there are a number of key episodes of Star Trek, the original series, where I have a commentary on Patreon, where, I'm watching it and I'm discussing the show, as I'm watching it. So it's almost like a director's commentary, only obviously I didn't direct it. Hail to you, Kurt James, and thank you for calling that out, my friend. I really appreciate that.
I would second that. All of your DVD commentaries that are on Patreon are really excellent. Definitely.
Oh, thank you.
Worth the listen.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've done movies. I do Star Trek. I did Blade Runner, Casablanca, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, Raiders of the Lost Ark, some of the classics I have done a running commentary in real time discussing. And those are some of my favorite movies of all time, as you guys know. And just a couple more, and then we're going to get into Stranger Things. Jack White, who looks like maybe he's going to be a producer tonight. Hail to you, Jack. Jack White with a $10 super chat and a $5 super chat says, there's always been a staple of female circles. Basically, women compete in covert mate competition suppression, and they resort to reputation destruction and gossip to destroy people. There have been studies done on male and female behaviors that have proven the differences between the genders. Yeah, it's true, Jack. I mean, it's not only the way that they compete and kind of the way that they, orchestrate, each other's destruction in terms of gossip and, that kind of thing, but also in play. Boys and girls play differently. A boy who is playing Batman will alter their behavior to emulate Batman, to in other words, to basically faithfully portray Batman, whereas girls will take like a Batman and try to put them in situations where they're shopping, or they're making a cake, or they kind of transform what Batman is, and that's kind of what woke culture does. It's a very kind of female modality that they impose. They try to twist these heroes and masculine archetypes into cookies and shopping and being gay and all these other wonderful things that we've come to experience over the years. Speaking of wonderful things, or am I? Let's go ahead and get over to let's talk about Stranger Things. When it comes to Stranger Things, I felt like it kind of ran its course in season 4. I thought there was a lot of fat, just a lot of fat, a lot of redundancy, and I got kind of bored with it, honestly. I don't feel qualified, fair disclosure. I watched it season 5 so far, but I was sick when I watched it, and I fell asleep a number of times. So I don't know if it was boredom. I don't know if I just, the meds, or I'm just exhausted. So I don't feel qualified. I was not blown away by it. There was stuff I liked. There definitely was some good stuff in there. I like the vibe. It's very interesting to have seen these kids, grow up in kind of, over the years of this series. But I don't know. I really need to watch it conscious. So I apologize. I've not been doing very well. But there's an interesting controversy. I did see this, but I don't know that this is. I think this might be kind of ridiculous, to be honest. There's a controversy saying there's this guy Posobiec, Jack Posobiec. I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Posobiec.
Yeah,
it's Posobiec.
Posobiec. Yeah, this guy. Look, some people on the right and the left will try to politicize everything. And this Jack Probasic guy is trying to politicize something that happens in Stranger Things season 5. So what happens basically is Will is seen hiding out in Castle Byers before having to fend off a Demogorgon, making a run for it, falling out of a tree. While unconscious, he's taken to Vecna, proving he's been behind the events of Stranger Things from the very beginning. What happens next has been the subject of an unexpected debate thanks to alt-right political activist Jack Probasic. He got on X and said, warning for parents, the new Stranger Things begins with an extremely graphic, I don't want to use certain words because pedo scene of a young child being, shall we say, abused by an older man. And basically what happens is that Vecna plugs one of his vines to Will's mouth and force feeds him a mysterious substance that causes him to be inextricably linked to the Upside Down. And they're trying to say that is, vape, that's like, whatever. It's disturbing, but it's the same thing as Alien. The face hugger, inserting the tube, down there and laying the egg. On the other hand, then, H.R. Geiger said that, that was the idea, that it was like a violation. So I don't know. I didn't see it like that. But maybe some of you guys do. So before we get into the review, this is an actual controversy, and some people agree with this guy, and other people think it's full of shit. So I'm just interested to what you guys think. Rob, I think you sent me this article, so I'll let you start out with it. What did you think about this? Is it a crock or is there something behind it?
I think it's a crock. I mean, everything the Duffers do in this is emulating old sci-fi and horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at your Alien and Aliens, they're trying to draw from that. And so it's about, the fact that Vecna was in charge all the time and the fact that these kids were given powers from that. And it kind of ties into what we see in the ending of this episode. So it's part of that. I don't think it was intentional for it to be some child stuff that we can't talk about on YouTube. So I don't think that was the intent. I think the intent was just the horror and the fact that this kid was kidnapped by this creature and given this gooey stuff to try and turn him into a monster like thing, and that's what it is. Okay,
and they digitally like de-aged him which exacerbated the problem in Jack's eyes. I mean, so you think it's kind of a
I think he's going out on a way far tangent, and I just think if you're going to criticize Stranger Things and criticize some of the things in it, there's other stuff to criticize, not this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Is there anyone that wants to add anything to that? Because anyone?
Yeah, I think it's kind of amusing that it's like an 80s show, and in the 80s we had that, I don't know, what was it called, the Parents Resource Council or something like that, where they all were like, oh, all this popular culture is satanic, trying to ban sister videos, and you play the record backwards, there's satanic messages and parent label warnings on anything. So I thought it was kind of appropriate. This is a 80s kind of flashback nostalgic show, so we had someone come out with a parental warning. Kind of
trying to drum up like outrage or get attention or something. I mean,
but it was clearly silly.
Yeah, it pretty much is. But does anyone here disagree at all?
Somewhat. I would not have done the scene like that.
Really? What do you think?
I would not have had that image depicted in that way. I mean, you can talk about Alien and stuff like that. Of course, these were adults.
Right.
But even that, the face hugger kind of, covers the activity and whatnot. And in this case, I get the plot point, of course, becomes very significant, especially for this character, as Vecna kind of screwed up, didn't he? But nevertheless, literally in the face. The idea of him doing this, and he's the monster, he's the villain, and all this sort of stuff, and using children, which makes him even more evil. Yeah, I understand that. It's probably having him cocooned in that crap, whatever it is, and that sort of thing, and that gets the result that you have by the end of the part 1 season show. Just the imagery in and of itself. So it almost kind of is like,
so it's,
gee, someone could criticize this and say it's symbolic. There's other means by which to get to the same point.
You did not have to do it that way.
You didn't have to do it that way. No.
And
good point, Doug.
Yeah, no,
point,
wow, you kind of flipped me there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of fall in line with Doug there, because like in modern day, everyone knows that everything is going to be scrutinized. And you know that it's going to be looked at in certain ways, and certain people are going to look at things one way and certain people are going to look at things another way. It's like we had the controversy with the movie Cuties, which is, the narrative of the film is anti-exploitation. However, it's shot in such a way that if the people that were, if the creatures that are into that sort of thing could watch it on mute and really enjoy the cinematography, the angles, it's like there is, I wonder at this point, is it deliberate? Because are you sending something out there because you know it will get attention, it will draw like some news to your thing, and you can say, oh, it's not that at all. It's just like, look, it's an homage to Alien and stuff like, yeah. But the reality is that, yeah, somebody had to be aware that this is going to be taken a certain way on people on both sides. There's, probably people out there that are sadly enjoying that scene. There's other people that were disgusted by it, and other people that like, aha, it's a political message. Because at this point, anything can be a political message. It's like, I like dogs more than cats. Oh my God, you're like, just wear that symbol on your arm. You have to be aware that when you do certain things in modern entertainment, that it's going to draw attention, especially on a show this successful with this many eyes on it. So I think people were maybe on both sides. I think he's grasping at straws. I think he's taking bait. I think he's making much ado about nothing. But look, there's a big grift on both sides of the aisle with these things. So I don't take it that seriously, but I can understand why some people would get upset, and I can understand. And it is disturbing to watch if you.
Well,
think
it's abuse,
Yeah.
but it's a villain.
Yeah. Right.
Abusing, and I don't think there's any kind of sexual component. I mean, saying it's whatever. I mean, it's evil, it's grotesque, and it's abuse. I mean, yeah, no, look, dude. I mean, I can respect both points of view. I guess. I didn't see it that I just saw it as, disgusting, and creepy. But I mean, it's a disgusting, creepy creature. I don't know, Gary, you were like going one way, and then you say Doug kind of
Well,
a little bit.
Again, maybe it wasn't the story content. Maybe it was the execution. That's the issue. I mean, it's not that hard to show the kid being terrified and held up against the wall, and then cut to his point of view with the thing and the tentacle, and then it ramming right into his face. And then we go to the opening credits, because, then we're getting the story across without showing a child being abused.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a very sensitive issue these days. So, I mean, at first I was like, well, geez, we see this kind of thing all the time. I think it was even done in the first season. But now that I'm thinking, it's like, maybe it's the execution. I don't know. Maybe it's we live in an era where there's nothing is really sacred anymore. We can just kind of show whatever we want to show, and everything's of extreme shock. If you go on social media, you can see actual harm and death now. So I don't know. Maybe maybe there's something to the execution of it.
Yeah,
that was probably improper.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was about as bad as it could have been, shown. I mean,
they showed all of it. Yeah. So
yeah, it was pretty disgusting. Anything to add, Doug? Because I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I think that's the deal. Just the overall plot and everything, which is something I suspected anyway, because I don't want to spoil what happens at the end of this part one of this final season. So, but it fits into that as to what's happening with that character. But like Gary said, there's other ways to shoot this to where it doesn't have to be like that. And especially when it's a child. Adult characters, well, you can go a lot further. But even a CGI child, it's a child, and it's like, you got to be more delicate than that.
No, okay. Well, you were mentioning, Doug, your reaction to Stranger Things, season 5, this volume 1, whatever you want to call it, part 1. And you were saying that you kind of agreed with me when I was saying that, like, last season felt like it had a lot of fat in it, and it really kind of dragged in a lot of places. Do you think that this was an improvement over over season 4 so far, or what was your feeling on it? Then we'll go around and get everyone's reaction.
Not really. I mean, it's very repetitive. It has been for some time. They've tried this and that. They got to rescue Hopper, because he disappeared and that sort of thing. So they had that going for the last season. This one, and I mean, it's more of the same. It's like it's got its the 80s movie tropes about how they got to figure this out, and the kids they got an attack plan and all that. Yeah, I've seen that already. And then they do it all, and I'm fine. And that sort of thing, but the repetition, even within the characters, it's like, well, this character we're talking about, his self-discovery and all that, they've already covered it. They already did it.
Yeah.
This time they're doing it with where another character is realizing what this is about him and all that. Whereas previously it was his brother, which makes more sense. He knows him more than anybody, and realizes, gee, this is tough. I feel bad for him and all that, and that sort of thing. And they glommed it on, and kind of they glommed it on top of the main story of what we really discover about him in here, as it pertains to the fantastic nature of the show. It's just, well, you're telling the same story all over again, when really you had a new one here, kind of, even though I thought all along they were going to do something with him like this. But that's ultimately the problem. And it's a lot of this is, I think you've run out of steam some time ago, and you probably should have capped this off. But I understand it. It's their golden prize here, and they want to milk this as much as possible, which is why it's split in two, that kind of thing, and drag it out, because it could be a while before they have another hit show like Stranger Things, But yeah, I think it ends up damaging it for what it achieved, because you only have so many stories to tell. You can't just regurgitate them.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did the same thing on Cobra Kai the last season. It's like the middle, of the 3 chunks that they released it. The middle one, I thought, kind of dragged a bit and got redundant, but it ended really strong on the final chunk on Cobra Kai for me. So
let's hope they got something. That's always possible that part 2 of this can come in and save the day. Maybe that'll be the case.
I hope so. Let's go around. Let's see. Gary, you were up there, but you got bumped. We were having the little shuffle here. What'd you think about this? Any thoughts?
You talking about the
Stranger
first
Things?
The first 4 episodes, right? Are we spoiling? Are we?
Let's not do heavy spoilers or anything.
Okay.
But you can talk a few specifics if you want.
So I don't want to get too much into the nitpicking that I have on the show, because it's kind of like personal for me. So, because I don't think that's productive, but I'll just start by saying I absolutely adore the first season of this show.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by like how creative and how wonderful it was. And, admittedly, the creators, they said they didn't have a plan if the show had taken off. That's where a lot of my issues lie. I'm not going to go into them. Like I said, mixed feelings about this, that, and the other. I had cherry picked some things in the other seasons. I actually went back and watched the entire series a few times before this new season came out, just to refresh myself, to give it a second chance. There's some things that I discovered that what I thought I didn't like, I actually ended up liking a few things. So, I had a little bit of a revised opinion on it. This season, I hate to say it, it just seems kind of messy to me. There's a lot of issues, but I don't want to go into that. I did want to talk about something that I thought was absolutely great about this season, was Dustin. And I'm not going to I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but Dustin, that kid, he was so funny and so charming and just so lighthearted, and gee whiz, guys, let's get on an adventure. He was such a great character, and what he went through in the 4th season, it shows in this. And I was like, wow, that's the thing I'm really hooked into on this this new season. The rest of it, I'm not impressed with. I really, I could do without it, but I've got that little piece that I'll be enjoying, you know. And he was my favorite character the whole time, and I really like what's going on with him.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I liked as well.
Yeah, I mean, really, there's so much to go in about, like, you know, the messiness of it and everything, and you know, the different opinions of the show and stuff. I don't really find that productive, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I did like that part about it. That was what I liked about the new season.
So the messiness, so it wasn't just the fact that I was sick that maybe made me fall asleep in a number of places.
No, I had to rewatch some things. I had to go back and start over.
Yeah,
and, you know, there was, So that's just the way it is. You know, I'm not trying to be negative or anything. I'm just saying what happened. You know.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Rob, what do you think?
So I thought it was good. I didn't think it didn't blow me away. But first off, I will agree with Gary. Dustin's my favorite character as well, and I loved his development. I think his is the best. I think another character that really kind of came into his own a little bit, that is showing leadership traits more so than he has in the last couple of seasons, is Mike. Mike, actually, the scenes towards the end where he's leading them through the area and around things, he's saying, "Hey, eyes on me, follow me, follow me." He's being a leader, and I like the leadership traits of him and the growth of the character. Those are Dustin and Mike are two characters, and Will's the other one that obviously we see the growth in it. If you know, you know. But those are the three characters that kind of really grow, which I really liked and really enjoyed. The strength of the show is with the characters, and one of the things that this season does is all the characters are kind of together and they're working as a team. The problem is that the cast is so large and elaborate. There's not always really some interesting thing for each character to do. And that's where you run into some of the problems of this season, where you've got characters that are kind of on the sidelines that don't do as much as they would have in previous seasons. And to some degree, that's okay, because you got to make room for other characters and other things. But in other degrees, you're not developing or growing them. But I think it's a good show. There were some things that just kind of nitpicky things that I would say that bothered me a little bit. Some of the storylines that I didn't feel like they didn't need to go down and really explore. But overall, I thought it was all right. I like, Hopper and 11. Hopper's another one that's a favorite of mine, and him going on a mission and 11 coming with him, and kind of their bonding and growing in that was good to see. I love Dustin and Steve. Their dynamic has always been one of my favorites on the show. And I love how Dustin is just totally changed by what happened in season 4, like Gary said. That's great. Will has an interesting change. He actually does something which is useful rather than be kind of the victim. And I think that's good. I'm not going to get into spoilers about what it is, but it's interesting. But, Robin's an annoying character. She drives me nuts. And I didn't like her angle or her storyline at all. Joyce, she was okay. I mean, you've got this great actress playing her, and she doesn't do much. And you would think that she would make more of a stand as a mother. And there are just some questionable things of, hey, wait a minute. I don't care who you work for, if you're in the military or not. You're not taking my child. So I had some issues with some of those things that were going on. There's a new character in here that was pretty funny, Derek. I thought he was pretty funny in parts. Especially when he's leading the kids and he has a little thing that he taps them with. That was funny. That made it funny and fun. But Vecna's scene towards the end was kind of cool. I thought that was kind of cool. But it's still a little bit creepy. And then I will mention you get to see Max and what happened to her, and that's interesting. That makes you think, and that makes you wonder what this whole thing is. So that's the imagination portion that I liked. So,
all right, fair enough. Heather L., what say you?
Yeah, I really liked it. For the most part, I'm positive on it. I kind of get what people are saying. I mean, the whole run, season 1 to 5, could have had a tighter story arc overall. It's never really hit what it did in season 1.
Yeah.
Since then, it's kind of been monster hunting over and over again, which, I mean, I'm okay with that. I think they've done it in a really entertaining way. I think the show's been pretty fun and funny too. The characters are super likable, especially the original group of boys. So I was glad to see kind of what's going on with them. Like you mentioned, Dustin. I mean, it was great to see him in one scene where he's like, I paid attention in algebra class, and he's, figuring out based on the math, he's kind of figuring out the solution to what they're looking for, instead of just being like an idiot, like a lot of shows like we were talking about portray men. He's smart and figuring it out, and so are all the boys in this. And I was liking to see Will, now that some of the things that he's gone through, he's actually kind of growing more and discovering how he can be more powerful, instead of just like 11 saving the day. Mike is also kind of stepping up. He's being a great older brother, being kind of more of a leader of the group. So I think I really like the way that they're portraying all these original boys that were in the group. The fact that Hopper has been like a dad to 11 this whole time, and their relationship, I think, was really great. I loved how they did that. I just think I thought it was entertaining. I didn't think it was boring. It did get a little bit long. I would say episodes 1 and 4 were kind of the strongest. It drug a little bit in 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They do, it's the constantly fighting the Demogorgons, and now we're shooting another one.
Yeah,
It gets
exactly.
a little bit much. It could have been shortened for sure. I did think a lot of scenes were really funny though. Like you mentioned Derek, his line when he's trying to calm down this group of little kids, and he's like, "Oh, imagine a beach and water," and he's like, "Yeah, it's called visualization. It's what my mom does when she runs out of Valium."
Exactly.
And this, like, these kids, there's so many little lines I find really funny. I thought the initial setup was good too. I mean, it's been years since this has been on. So the kind of the opening flashback and using the radio station to kind of tell what's happened since the end of season 4. And I thought the use of the upside down song was pretty clever. And the great thing that they don't have cell phones, and so they're kind of giving secret messages through telling the history of the song. I mean, I think there's a lot of clever writing in it. So yeah, it kind of got too long in places, but overall I think it's a pretty fun, entertaining show.
I think that the show, works best when it's reminding you of, what it was like to be a kid, or what it was like to be a kid watching these kinds of movies, like your friends that played D&D, you'd go out on your, bikes and ride around the neighborhood, same thing with Cobra Kai, reminds me of, summers when those movies would be out, so when it's the personality of the guys, and the kids, not when you get, I'm gay, by the way, I'm gay,
That was
doing all
that
this, speechifying,
yeah.
I just want to see the gang coping with, monsters and clowning around. And I mean, that's when it's at its best.
Yeah.
When it reminds you of what it was like to be a kid.
We had to have the token gay characters,
I
which
know, and the hammer. I mean, geez, we get it already.
Yeah,
I mean, do we
100%.
really? Sean, what do you think of it?
Well, I haven't seen the episodes, but I hear what you guys are all saying, and I just want to know. I mean, should I even start watching this? It sounds like I need to wait till the end of this season to know whether it's worth investing.
You never,
Sean, I say absolutely watch the first season of the
Yeah.
show.
Okay.
Season 1 is
I really I think it's great.
It
I
was
really
great.
do. I've watched it like probably 6 or 7 times, and there's so much in it. It's just check it out, man.
Yeah.
So it stands on its own, like the first
Yeah.
season.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, the first season stands on its own. First
Oh,
season,
good. Okay.
Like I said, I according to the guys that created the show, they didn't really have a plan after the show's first season, but you can watch the first season and it works on its own just fine.
It has an ending. If you want to stop there, you can stop
Okay.
there. It's just fantastic. Winona Ryder was just born to play the role that she's playing in season 1.
Yeah, and she's ill used in this season so far, but Winona Ryder's really great.
Cool. Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat here, everyone's saying, yeah, watch it. So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy not to. I mean, it really was outstanding. But I mean, I'm with you, Gary. I mean, I think it's criminal to do a show and then not have an idea of where it ends.
Well, I mean, possibly, but that was just the case. I mean, like, it's like I don't think they intended on doing that. It just was. That's how it was.
Yeah,
well,
I don't know what the
pandemic
circumstances
impacted it too.
I don't know what the circumstances were. Maybe they told them, look, this. Maybe they discouraged these guys and said, we don't know how the show's going to be, so don't bother. So who knows? Who knows? I'm playing devil's advocate here, but the fact remains that the first season is superb.
It really is
really good, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
It was like Cobra Kai. It takes you back to a time and a genre that is vanished, and it really did it in a beautiful way. Even the music, everything. It's fucking awesome. It kind of reminded me of Spielberg, in his prime, and
John Carpenter.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Good stuff. It's really good. So
Stephen
Sean, you can't go
back
wrong.
when he didn't suck,
Yeah.
Back in the beginning. Go ahead.
The standard for Netflix tends to be 2 seasons of a show, but Stranger Things hit bigger than they expected. So that might have a lot to do with whatever plans we have. This is all we got, and then, oh crap, now we got to do more. And it shows because they're trying to find something for it. And that's how that goes. When you're a 1-season show on Netflix, boy, did you really suck.
Yeah.
You usually get 2.
Yeah. Andy, what do you think about it?
Well, watching the first season, I felt that I got the hype. I got everyone was really following it. I graduated high school in 1985, so I was right in the middle of the 80s. I had like my childhood, 1980, I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then 1985, I'm graduating high school, and then and everything through the 90s. I saw this as sort of a nostalgic view of what the 80s were like, not necessarily a realistic view of what the 80s were like, but it was a nice homage. It was like somebody who was a fan of what they thought the 80s were, and we're making a show about it, and I could enjoy it. That being said, I really, really enjoyed season 1. I thought it was fresh. I thought it was original. I saw a lot of there were callbacks and things, but it was it came from a place of genuine creativity. And then it became obvious, like, oh crap, what are we going to do with this? And with modern storytelling, you can't go into something having like a 5-year plan, not knowing if you're going to get like 2 episodes. You have to sort of play loose. Now with this season, I think that they had enough story that they could finish it up in 2 episodes, one being a little bit longer than the other, probably about 3 hours. They could have done all this. But ad revenue, subscribers, hype, stretch that thing out. It's kind of like that Hobbit movie where we had the Lord of the Rings, which was 3 books, and each book got its own movie, and now we have 1 book and some appendices. We're going to stretch it into 3. It's why they have so many characters doing, kind of like they're stalling for time. It's very obvious they're stalling for time, but I knew going into this that's what I kind of expected. I was talking to Gary about this, and he was like, hitting me with a bunch of the things that he saw, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that because I kind of enjoyed it. I was like, then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, I enjoyed it because as I went into it, I knew what I was going in for. I wasn't expecting high art. I was kind of expecting what after season 3, which I think 3 was the one that was kind of draggy. And then 4 came along. It was really good. So I kind of expected this was going to be the route of it. There was going to be a little bit, too many characters, like, too many. Yeah. I'm glad that, yes, they put the metaphors and the narratives in there, but they didn't club you over the head with it. It's like, and yes, I get the idea. There's, it's coming off of, in the 80s, we were kind of a little bit past the Charlie's Angels thing where Farrah Fawcett would, rear naked choke a grizzly bear on Charlie's Angels and things like that. It was sort of accepted that, yeah, you're going to get a level of suspension of disbelief, and sometimes it's going to be pushed. There's a lot of inconsistencies with characterizations, but I'm not really looking at it that hard to look at it. The writing, the writing is pretty dodgy. It's like there's a lot of inconsistencies. Hopper comes up with some great plans, and he does really stupid things. That there's some inconsistencies with the character there. That you can see them really struggling with, like, well, what the hell are we going to do with this character? Let's put them off on this and just have them like, there's. I think Joyce has kind of done a disservice with Winona Ryder in this because I think she was pretty clever, early on with the Christmas lights and everything, trying to figure out a way to find her kid and all that. And I think now they've kind of dumbed her down a little bit because, like, oh, the kids are so smart. And Robin is really annoying. She's like the exposition of the plot. That's her main role. I don't get the. I haven't gotten the idea of Nancy. I get, yeah, she's got the job as the investigative reporter and she's thinking about things and stuff, which I liked. Dustin is definitely the heavyweight of the series in this one. I want to. 11, you're kind of like just watching. Yes, she's still progressing. She's still Rocky running up the stairs. I would have liked to have seen them do a little bit more athletic work with her so she could be a little bit more convincing with some of these. There's some of the CGI and the wire work stuff is very obvious. But then again, back in the 80s, we had the A-Team crashing helicopters into the side of a mountain and everybody climbs out at the end. So we have to keep in reference that it's kind of based on those sort of things. Overall, I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping that they can stick the landing with it. I really don't want to be that disappointed with it. Do I see myself ever watching this again? Season 1, probably. Other than that, I don't know that I will. I don't really find it that captivating. I will say that the kids in this do a much better job. Well, all through this, as they've been acting better than the Skeleton Crew kids did. But I think that has to do with more with writing and directing than anything else. I think that is where the Duffer Brothers have some strength, is writing convincing young characters as being convincing young characters.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Their writing is what separates it. Although I think the Skeleton Crew actors were pretty talented. It's not the kids' fault, It was
right.
The fucking.
That's what I mean. The writing on that, the writers were adults trying to pretend they were kids. That was the problem for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess. So, how long do we have to wait for the
Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve
is the 2, and then the finale's New Year's.
Yeah.
All right.
So at least not as long as Cobra Kai.
Right.
Yeah, Cobra Kai was a disgrace. That was such a ridiculous wait. But boy, they nailed the ending. They nailed the ending. I love Cobra Kai. Very happy with Cobra Kai. So let's before we hit the super chats and before we say goodnight to Doug Nelson, let's get to a little bit of comic book movie news. Rob, you sent me a thing that I had not seen about is this rumors or confirmed about Avengers Doomsday casting?
Yeah. So basically, apparently Disney had an event in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did was they showed kind of the cast of some of the cast of Avengers Doomsday. And what they did was they didn't show like footage or anything like that, but they showed the teams. So they had all the heroes grouped up. So you had the Less Than Fantastic Four grouped together. You had the original X-Men, which is kind of cool to see because they're bringing back some cool guys from the Fox films for that. You have the people from the Wakanda Forever series grouped together. You have the quote unquote new Avengers, which was not a great movie that came out this past year, that are grouped together. And then you have Captain Falcon, Sam Wilson's Avengers team, and it includes this group of people. So it's going to include Thor, Ant-Man, the new Falcon, Shang-Chi, Mexican Iron Man, and Loki. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Not Mexican Iron Man. Scratch that. But no, it'll include Loki as part of that. So, there's apparently some other characters that they're going to show in this. And then Robert Downey Jr. is officially Victor Van Doom, and he's not a different Tony Stark. He's Victor Van Doom in whatever universe he's from. But yeah, they confirmed all that apparently at this thing for Marvel investors in Europe. So
they're not going to explain why he looks like Tony Stark.
I don't think so. Not yet. I think I hear that some of that's coming, but apparently it's supposed to be some kind of shock. So okay. I have no idea. Take that for what you will, but this is kind of the lineup that they're going with this first movie. And apparently there's rumors that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is supposed to be in this one. I don't know. We'll see if that pans out. Of course, you've got a Spider-Man movie coming up with this right before this comes out as well. So,
and I guess probably Fantastic Four,
Yeah,
Howard Stark's got some splaining to do.
Yep, he does. He does. Maybe he's Doctor Doom's father in this other universe. Who knows? But yeah, that's kind of the news that kind of is hyping everything. But at this point, apparently we're supposed to get some kind of trailer in a couple weeks. We'll see. I don't know. Dubcock, the thing that worries me most about this film is you've got such a large cast, and your whole thing about scrapbooking is what this feels like in a way. And I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't either. And, the fact that it, is multiverse, it just, I don't know how they're going to have any real stakes on this thing. Doug, I know you got to go pretty soon. You got any thoughts about what Rob just said? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not, my spidey sense ain't tingling,
It's too cluttered for one thing. They're trying to make up for the time they've wasted. It's supposed to be a multiverse saga. Well, let's see. They've had 2 movies about multiverse. I mean, really, just the Spider-Man was the only good one. The Doctor Strange had multiverse in the title and barely really even touched on it. You had a few scenes of, these alternate versions of Marvel with, Mr. Fantastic. A better Mr. Fantastic. Yeah. And then they immediately killed him. Stuff like that. And that was it. It was just, and of course, it's when you make the gimmick more of just the gimmick rather than trying to figure out an actual plot to it and everything, which they did with Kang, but then they had to just suddenly scrap that. They could have just recast him. Whatever, I don't know. There doesn't appear to have been a coherent plan from the get-go, and now you're just going to suddenly shoehorn in Doctor Doom, And oh, look, it's Robert Downey Jr. And that's all there is to it. It becomes Battle of the Network Stars. For the middle, look, it's Patrick Stewart. Hey, look, it's Ian McKellen. And there they go. Well, how about that? And for 2 hours. I mean, there's some rumors that Secret Wars might get split into part 1 and part 2.
Yeah,
because you need the time because you're running out of room here in this desperate long Hail Mary pass in order to revive interest in this and the hopes that the movies that follow can be profitable. I'm very dubious of that. I guess just out of the curiosity, people will show up for Doomsday, but if it's just this cluttered mess, that's going to get out, and everyone's going to know it, and then it just fizzles. Marvel was the only game they had going for a while there, and of course they couldn't help themselves; they had to kill it.
Yeah, no, I'm not feeling a great sense of excitement here. I'm hoping it'll be good.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting it to be good. That's the problem. Anyone else want to chime in on this before we go?
Well, I'm sure I'm not alone when I say this, that we all had that week back in the 80s where we hooked up with that girl, while we were doing that unlicensed pharmaceutical gig, and we had a fabulous, incredible week, where lots of bodily fluids were exchanged, and you were sore and achy in all the great ways, and then comes that Black Widow moment when it burns when you pee, and then you find the girl took off with the money that you owe the other guy for all the pharmaceuticals, and then they're going to come around, and all of a sudden we're going to fix all that. Ignore the penicillin, ignore the ointments and the salves, and ignore all that the explaining you had to do why you can't sit down at work, and just trust us that it will be okay. Trust us that it will be. We're going to make it okay, and we're going to and the girl's going to come back and she's going to test clean for all those things, and you don't have to worry about that ever again. I don't think they can pull it off. I don't see it happening. I think they've lost the magic. I don't think you're going to be able to look at those, beautiful round globes on this girl's chest and not think about the burning when you pee. It's just not going to happen.
An excellent analogy.
Not that I know anything about that, but
Man, one wonders what the popcorn buckets are going to look like.
Well, you had the Deadpool and Wolverine ones with the mouth open. I think these ones will be bent over and you reach in the ass.
Well,
Doomsday, everybody.
In a nutshell, yes. Thank you, Andy Masterson, for that analysis. All right. Well, Doug, I know you got to go. Go ahead and plug your entertainment empire, my friend.
Guess who I am? I'm Doug Nelson. That's right. The one you've been hearing about all this time. It's just me. Yeah. Well, it turns out I have a channel called the Nelson Ratings, and you can see my Stranger Things review there. Yeah, about as happy as it was here. And so you can check that out. But there's also the Mr. Nelson Show over at radiomisfits.com or wherever you get your podcast. You can also catch up on extra things from me over at my locals, the nelsonratings.locals.com. There are no nudes. And you can check out my comic books based on my audio plays. The same thing. Night. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. You see that face Robert has? That's the look of happiness. How did he achieve that? He got himself his copies of Night. Oh, you're wondering, hey, Doug, how do I get Night? Well, you head over to indieplanet.com and you look up Night. Yes. And then you too can be like Rob. Happy. Yes. Don't delay. Order your Night today.
Thank you very much, Doug Nelson. Appreciate you being here, my friend. And we will hopefully see you next week, my friend.
That's the plan.
That is the plan. Hail to Doug Nelson, sharp-dressed man, what the Jaguar marketing campaign used to look like back when they were successful. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate you being here, man.
All
Night,
right,
Doug.
have a good night, everybody.
Night,
See you,
Doug.
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 All right, Doug, God bless you. Let's go now to the rest of these here super chats here, and then we're going to get to our movie, which we really love. All righty, folks. Thank you all for your patience. Kurt James gifted an Overlord DVD membership to this channel. Hail to you, Kurt James, and thank you yet again, sir. We really appreciate your support, brother. Jack White, who is certainly a producer at this point tonight. Hail to you, Jack White, with a $10 super chat. He says, so people like Simone de Beauvoir claiming there was ever a sisterhood were completely delusional and full of shit. And I look forward to the decentralization of entertainment out of California. Jack White adds with a $5 super chat. Hollywood and the legacy media thought they had complete control, and they're finding out how wrong they were and are. Yeah, they really did. They thought that they could go ahead and use movies like propaganda and brainwashing to, kind of continue the good work or the awful work of the academics that espouse this kind of shit and kind of drummed it into the heads of a bunch of college grads. But society as a whole is more resilient than that, and it looks like I think they've missed their chance. I really do. The fact that Gen Z is rising up and looking for good stuff fills me with a lot of hope, oddly enough. Paula Veter Gamer with a $9.99 super chat. Hail to you, Paula Veter Gamer says, hail. The battle for pop culture is more important than ever. It's not just for the Gen Z of today, but we have 15-year-old Gen Alpha that has been living this. Gen Beta will live with what comes next. Yeah, no, listen, it's the continuity of our culture. And more than that, it's got something to do with the human spirit. And, kind of that universal urge to tell stories, to dream, to relate to each other through tales. This is a core human value. And, one that Hollywood is not addressing in any way. Hail to you, Paula Veter Gamer. Nicely said, sir. Oops. And then it just jumped on me. So now I got to scroll up to find where I was. Sorry. I hate it when it happens. Kind of breaks the old stride here. Admiral Teague has been a channel member 46 months at the Doomantite level. Hail to you, Admiral Teague. He says, hail DC. I urge all Trek fans to tweet at Paramount Plus. Fans want Star Trek United. Hashtag Star Trek United. The time is now. Victory has never been closer. Hail panel and mods. Hail to you, Admiral Teague. And yes, it appears that Star Trek United, the sequel to Enterprise, a canon Star Trek, is now in the air as a possibility. So hail to you, Admiral Teague, and hail to Star Trek. Yeah, there may be a chance, a faint chance, but a chance nonetheless. Jack White, a producer tonight, with a $20 super chat. Anime and manga expert Jack White says, $20 super chat and a $10 super chat. With independent journalists and commentators like Tim Pool, Styx Hexenhammer 666, Viva Fry, Robert Barnes, Razor Fist, Actual Justice Warrior, the Lotus Eaters, the Fandom Menace are all proving the legacy media and Hollywood wrong. They've kind of proven themselves wrong. The box office does not lie. But Jack White adds with a $10 super chat and a $2 super chat. When it comes to the Stranger Things controversy, Doug's term woke shell shock definitely comes to mind. And with a lot of the stuff Netflix has done with a lot of their content, it's not surprising that someone might have that kind of reaction. Yeah, I didn't really react that way when I saw it, but on reflection, I can see that there is an argument to be made. I just don't like viewing things exclusively, through this kind of political lens, but sometimes, sometimes it may well be appropriate. Thank you, Jack, for that. Saul Shymek with a $10 super chat. Hail to you, Saul Shymek. Saul says, been showing my niece all of my various bits of pop culture from anime to the good sci-fi and doing my best to try to help. I also try to sit and listen. Hard to gauge if she likes it. She's shy. Well, then, by God, keep at her until she does like it. Hail to you, Saul Shymek. What's good for Hollywood is good for us. Be persistent. I imagine you're doing the good work, brother. You spread interesting bits of pop culture on our Archvillain live streams and so on and so forth. Thank you, Saul Shymek. You're doing a good job there, brother. And Kalina 7126 has been a channel member for 28 months now. Hail to you, Kalina 7126, and says, hail, time flies. Yes, a channel member for 28 months. Kalina, we thank you very, very much for being a channel member all of this time. We really, really do. And Descend into Madness with a $5 super chat. Hail, Descend into Madness says, you say you don't see people like in the Jaguar ad in real life? You mean Harvey hasn't given you a video tour of his bedroom and hot tub? Harvey? Hardy, har fucking har, Descending into Madness. You're so full of shit that I cannot believe that you can sneeze without farting. Oh my goodness, what an insult. Hail to you, Descend into Madness. And Kurt James with a $2 super sticker of a pair saying, cool. Thank you, Kurt James. I guess that means you're enjoying the show, man. And if you're enjoying the show, well, that makes me happy. Thank you very much, Kurt James. Let's go ahead now and get to the movie that we love for this week, shall we? Hopefully. All righty, folks. So we are at the point where we're going to go ahead and talk about The Long Kiss Goodnight. This is a movie that unfortunately I was going to watch this week. I've never seen it, but I've been, like I said, sick, and I decided not to watch it because I didn't want to ruin it for myself, because I wouldn't have enjoyed it feeling as shitty as I do.
Well, maybe you should chime out then while I do these notes.
Okay. Yeah. I
don't want this to be spoiled for you, man.
Okay. I will back away. I'll keep an eye on you as you're reading. But yeah, I wouldn't have enjoyed it if I watched it while I was feeling this shitty.
Yeah, I will. I'll give you a wave on the camera. I'll do this.
Sounds good, man. All right. I'm turning the headphones off. Okay. Go ahead. Let me make it. Let me make the slides big here. Okay, go ahead, Gary.
Okay, here we go, guys. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Guys, if you're married to a school teacher and she suddenly starts throwing kitchen knives and at house flies and putting you in chokeholds at bedtime, you might just be the luckiest man on earth. Directed by Rennie Harlin, written by Shane Black, starring Rennie Harlin's wife, Jules Winfield, the dude from the 13th floor, and the captain from Super Troopers. Produced on a $65 million budget and bringing in just over $89 million during its worldwide theatrical release. New Line Cinema had broken a massive record in cinema history when they paid Shane Black the sum of $4 million for his script, The Long Kiss Goodnight. This whopping salary became the seething jealousy of many Hollywood screenwriters, so much that after its sale, Black had to semi-retire. New Line originally wanted Black to rewrite the script with the intention of casting either Steven Seagal or Sylvester Stallone in the lead role. Black refused to do so, insisting that the real shock of the story was that a nerdy female school teacher was actually a badass super spy. Good choice. New Line finally agreed, and the production launched with the expensive script and husband and wife team Rennie Harlin and Gina Davis to direct and star. There was a minor delay, however, due to the two of them having to complete their contractual obligation with Mario Kassar and Andrew Vanya with Cutthroat Island. After the swashbuckling epic was released, it single-handedly sunk Carol Co., the most successful independent film company in the world. Rennie and Gina now really, really, really needed a hit. Harlan had some major success with Die Hard 2, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, and the Stallone Sub-Zero blockbuster Cliffhanger. But New Line was very nervous now that their next big movie was being helmed by the husband and wife team with the biggest box office flop in history under their belts. Testing. Everybody still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. The original last act of the film saw Mitch Hennessy die during the sniper sequence. This version was shown to a test audience who were absolutely up in arms with that particular story choice. The final act was rewritten by Shane Black and reshot to add Samuel L. Jackson back into the story, giving us the ending that was meant to be. Jackson also claimed that on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon that out of every character he has ever played, Mitch was his number one favorite of all time. One of the locations used in the film was the Windermere House, a 127-year-old historical resort located in Muskogee, Ontario. During production, the landmark hotel mysteriously caught fire. Scenes being filmed near the location were on a frozen lake with the resort scene in the background. Because the resort needed to be lit up for the shots, lighting and grip equipment were brought in, which is believed to be the cause of the fire, which destroyed the historical mansion. Oof. The cause of the fire was never proven to be the responsibility of the production. Deleted scenes featured on the French DVD release include Charlie performing a bit of ice skating ballet by performing a triple axel over a pursuing car while shooting 3 agents in the head. Charlie hijacking Santa's sleigh at gunpoint in order to catch up with the semi-truck during the final chase through the Christmas parade as well. Did you know that, Andy?
No, I didn't.
So, yeah, if you look in the original movie, she just kind of like jumps onto the door of the semi-truck, kind of like Indiana Jones, and pulls the guy out. Well, right. It was she hijacks Santa's sleigh in that parade at gunpoint and uses it to catch up to the semi-truck. That's how she jumped onto it, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's cool. I wish they would have left it in.
Yeah. Apparently, the charming and irresistible host of the Late Show, Craig Ferguson, had auditioned for the villain Timothy. That would have been very interesting. Yvonne Zima, the young actress who played Caitlin Kane, reunited with writer Shane Black, starring in Iron Man 3 and The Good Guys. The name Sam Kane, an alias used by Charlie Baltimore in the film, is an anagram for amnesiac. This film marks the second time Gina Davis's character had crashed in a Volvo station wagon, the other one being in Beetlejuice. How about that? The license plate RFK 575, as seen on the car containing the dead terrorist. This plate was also seen in Final Destination. It was the plate on Leonardo DiCaprio's car in The Wolf of Wall Street and was featured on the Jeep involved in the Orange Mocha Frappuccino tragedy in Zoolander. Famous movie prop right there. Wow. My final note, Rennie Harlin claims that he has the treatment for the Long Kiss Goodnight sequel, which is centered around the death of Gina Davis' character and afterward her daughter receiving a mysterious package from her, who then teams up with Samuel L. Jackson's character and goes out on the road to escape the U.S. government's agents trying to intercept that package. This is right off the bat a horrible idea due to the film starting out with Charlie Baltimore getting killed. One only imagines how a sequel would work without its main character, which was one of the greatest female action heroes in cinema, played by one of the greatest female action stars of the same. Rennie Harlan blames the lackluster box office result on the poor marketing campaign from New Line Cinema. Although very common now, and at this point heavily exploited and some would say tiresome, an actress had not ever starred as the lead in a major action film. There was Sigourney Weaver in Aliens. However, this film is a bit more of an ensemble than a standard action movie and had a massive sci-fi story element. Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor was the ultimate badass babe of the blockbuster in her day, but again, this was alongside Schwarzenegger. The super spy awakening from amnesia is a trope in itself, done to death in the Jason Bourne films, but The Long Kiss Goodnight was the first time it had been done with an actress, and especially one displaying the range, talent, and physical attributes of the great Geena Davis, who does not get the credit that she deserves for this work. Those are my notes, guys. This was a very, very difficult movie to research because there really isn't a lot of background on the making of this movie. This is the first time that I saw it, and I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun. There was some great action. The writing's amazing. Shane Black's good. Everything's great about this movie. It gets a little bit far-fetched and cheesy at points, but you know what? That's fine. It's an action movie. It's a classic 90s Hollywood. I really am super impressed by Geena Davis still to this day. I appreciate her more, especially as I get older and I see her real range, her physical capabilities. I just watched A League of Their Own, and she's really good in that. Very athletic, very, very talented and diverse actress. And I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed this movie. So there you go, Doomcock. That's the end of it right there, buddy.
Okay, man. Was I smart to have held off watching it if I wasn't feeling good?
Yeah,
I think that you're gonna enjoy this movie, Doom. You should, it's a fun action movie from the 90s written by Shane Black with a bunch of cool stuff in it. Rennie Harlan was a good director. He really was. I like Cliffhanger. I love the Adventures of Ford Fairlane. I think Die Hard 2 is a solid movie.
Yeah,
it's not, it's not Lawrence of Arabia, but it's a solid action movie. The editing is great. The acting's superb. And if you guys haven't seen it, check this one out.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for doing this, man. And
no
really
problem.
Appreciate it, man.
No problem. I am going to duck out early, you guys. So hail to the chat, hail to the wrenches. I love all you guys, everybody in the panel. You guys are great. And I will see you. I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Good night,
Gary. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Take care, you guys.
All right. Have a good time. All right. Well, Rob, what say you about this here movie? And thanks for doing the slides again, buddy.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie. I was surprised that I didn't know about it growing up. I thought it was good. It was a fun movie. It was surprising. It was cool to see Geena Davis in this type of role. And the cool thing is that she shows her athletic ability in this. I mean, she really is an athlete, folks. I talked to her about it. About being an athlete when I met her a year ago at the Dallas convention. When I got her autograph, I asked her because after A League of Her Own, she took up archery and she placed 16th in trying to make the Olympic Games. So she made it to the semifinals of the finalists for the Olympic Games for archery. So she is an athletic lady. She's very athletic and very talented. And she does a great job in this movie. I mean, you get thrown into this movie where you're trying to discover who is she, what was she before, because it gives you little hints, but then you're discovering it with her, and you go on this journey with her of discovering who this character really is and what her mission was and what was really going on. And it's a lot of fun. Samuel L. Jackson adds a whole lot of fun to it. He basically is a similar character that he plays in Pulp Fiction to this, and he's similar to kind of the usual Samuel L. Jackson, and I love it because I love Samuel L. Jackson. So both of those two are great in this. It's a lot of fun. It's a joyride. It's a lot of suspense, a lot of action, a lot of mystery and intrigue, and it kind of makes you think a little bit, because this came out in like '96, and I'm sitting there going, ooh, there's a little bit of interesting social political narrative on there. Now, I don't know if any of that really is true or elaborates it, but it plants a seed that makes you go, huh. But yeah, overall, I think this is a good movie. Doomcock, you should sit down when you feel better and watch this movie all the way through. I think you're really going to like it. It's a lot of fun. It's a joyride. Plus,
I will definitely check that
there's
out.
some really good shots of Gina Davis.
Well, probably not even better than in Earth Girls Are Easy.
No, not better than Earth Girls Are Easy, but they come close.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm digging that. Heather L., did you see this movie, and what do you think of it?
Yeah, this is a really fun movie. I really enjoyed it. Saw it when it first came out and then just completely forgot about it. So I hadn't watched it in ages, and it's weird because it is a really good action movie, but it's not one that you see like replayed on TV all the time and reruns, kind of like you do a lot of other action movies. But yeah, really well done. The dialogue is it's well written, it's funny, the action scenes are good. Gina Davis, I was really impressed with her acting in this because she's playing like the dual personalities, and her switch once she kind of starts remembering who she was in the past and how her personality changes, and she kind of flips back and forth. She does a really good job with that. And then of course Samuel L. Jackson is just hilarious. I don't know if he ad-libs a lot in his movies because he always has such great lines and has kind of always a similar character type. So I'm assuming he must really ad-lib a lot in all of his movies, that he gets that so the same that he's always got that same kind of character. I thought that it has an interesting twist kind of in the middle that makes it not super predictable. And those two make like a good kind of traveling buddy combo, which really seems unlikely. Like you wouldn't put Samuel L. Jackson and Gina Davis, but they have great chemistry together. And I thought it really worked well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And this was good. I had forgotten about it.
Yeah, I've never seen it before, but I'm gonna check it out. Andy, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I've been trying to twist everybody's arm to go over this movie for several years, and it's one of my favorites. I love Shane Black. I first became a huge fan with Lethal Weapon. I just thought the dialogue, the writing in that was so good, and it really made the characters. Yes, the actors did a stupendous job with that, but the writing really stood out. So then, I looked at the other things like Monster Squad. He did Lethal Weapon 2. He wrote The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis, The Last Action Hero, and I loved all of these movies. And then this comes out, and I remember going to see it, and I could not convince anybody to go with me to see this movie. I called a couple of my friends, and I don't feel like watching it. So I went by myself, and I went the next day and watched it again. I liked it so much. It really is. It's a female hero done right. It's believable. You see the stuff she goes through. She doesn't walk away with a little oh, look, here's this cut. She gets the living shit kicked out of her, and she is dragging herself across the screen. She is she's bleeding, broken, busted up badly. The one line in the film where she says, "It's the last time I'm going to be pretty," and she really, really shows you what it would look like if you're tangling with. Yes, it does get a little bit far fetched, like every action movie does, but it's very enjoyable, and the way they do it, the story makes sense. The performances are just outstanding. Everybody, the weak spot in, I think the main antagonist is a little weak. He could have been a little bit more menacing, a little bit more threatening, although he does do a really good job of being a real scumbag that you really want to see get what's coming to him. Highly recommended. As far as like it's ironic to me, we're watching Stranger Things with all the 80s throwbacks. Now we have this mid 90s movies that is like right in that same vein of 80s action movies. And I think if you haven't seen it yet, which a lot of people have not, I highly recommend that you check it out. And Doom, I can't wait to hear from you once you get a chance to sit down and watch this, because I really think you're going to enjoy it.
I'm really looking forward to it because I really loved Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane Black, right? I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, is it on that level?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think it's this is my favorite Samuel L. Jackson role. He's more than just Samuel L. Jackson. You see some real a character arc. He's funny. He's not the Mace Windu badass in it, but he's not afraid to throw down, but he's not quite what he thinks he is. All the performances in it are so good. Even the little girl that plays the daughter is really good. And what I like about it is it's not so far fetched that you're going to have to suspend some disbelief to think that things can happen like this. But it's very much like along the lines of Lethal Weapon, where you see some of the things that happen. Yeah, is that survivable? Yeah, probably not. But it's also pretty intriguing too. There's some plot points in here that as we're talking about this and why it's not so widely known, there's a plot point in this thing that I wouldn't be surprised if this movie is suppressed because it expresses that point of view in the film. And I think certain people you need to quiet that down because we don't want those stories like that getting out. So on the government side. So I think it's really well done. And it's the performances, the action sequences, the special effects, it's all really, really good.
I will definitely need to check this out. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it, and I'll get on it. Sean, what do you say, man?
Yeah, just like everyone's saying, fun movie. It is definitely an action movie. You're not going to get a lot of realism here, but it doesn't matter. It's fun. I like what Heather said. I mean, Gina Davis really shows some great range here. She plays two separate people, and that it's really interesting to see that. And not only that, I mean, she's beautiful, gorgeous. Some of the shots in there, the male gaze will appreciate. But what I did appreciate, there's a scene in the movie kind of early on, and she is in frickin' shape for this movie. I mean, you can tell she worked out. She looked good, really strong and beautiful at the same time. A lot of fun. Samuel Jackson, you can't beat him. I'm sure he did improv. There's some Sam Jackson lines in here, and I like Gary. I hadn't seen this movie before. I didn't even know of it. So it's really cool to find little gems like this from that era to watch and have a really good time with, and really good movie to kick off the holiday season. I looked at it and it kind of is a Christmas movie in a way, kind of a little bit like Die Hard was. It takes place during Christmas. It's cold and fun, great acting, and check it out. Get the popcorn and have a good time.
Sounds absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Sean. We appreciate you, and I appreciate all of you on the panel. Let's go ahead and see if there are any more super chats here. I think there might have been a few more that came in. Kurt James with a $5 super chat. Hail to you, Kurt, again, brother. We appreciate you. Kurt James says, I mentioned my love of the Patreon. Check out Zazzle 2. Get your Doomcock swag. The Stein is on my wish list. Ah, yes, the Doomcock Stein, sir. He says it will be mine. Hail, panel and chat. Hail to you, Kurt James. We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate the plug. And Don Lewis with a $4.99 super chat. Hail to you, Don Lewis. He says, and hail to Dragon Lady as well, by the way. Don Lewis says, wait till Gen Z gets a load of Max Headroom, original Star Trek, Airwolf, the A-Team, Knight Rider, and MacGyver. Yeah, man, there is a world of entertainment out there. And even if you've seen as much as I have, there's still stuff out there I have not seen. Even I, that's right, even Doomcock. So imagine if I've not seen some things, there must be a lot of stuff that you have not seen as well. So don't get discouraged. Dig into the past, dig into old movies, especially watch Turner Classic Movies. They really have some great stuff over there. And Anti-Derivative Jill with a $20 super sticker of a pair, looking in a mirror and blowing hearts and says, thanks for being you. Thank you for being you, Anti-Derivative Jill. We really appreciate you, dear lady, and looking forward to having you back on the show soon. I want to thank my panel tonight, Doug Nelson, who has had to go, and Gary has had to go as well. But we've got here remaining Rob Wright, Heather L., Andy Masterson, and Sean. And now is the time on Sprockets when we plug. So go ahead, Rob. Go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Yes, Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture coming up on Sunday. Heather L. and I will be there talking a little bit about Pearl Harbor, but we're also going to talk about episode 6 of the Pacific, the Battle of Peleliu. It's where the Marines are crossing an airfield, and it's one of the most brutal battles in World War II. It's going to be an interesting discussion, a great episode that we're going to talk about. And then on Monday, it'll either be Monday or Tuesday, I am connecting with my historian friend, Marty Morgan, and he's going to come on, and I'm going to do another live show talking specifically about Pearl Harbor, all the events that led up to Pearl Harbor, and what actually happened with Pearl Harbor, because it's the 84th anniversary on Sunday, something that we should always remember and be thankful for that generation that gave their lives for our country during World War II. So come see that on my channel. And then coming up, we're going to do some Christmas songs. I'm going to do some Christmas movies. Stay tuned, because it's going to be a lot of fun on my channel this month.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you, Rob Wright. Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. And Heather L., thank you for coming to us live from your newly remodeled studio. Go ahead and say goodbye to the folks.
Thank you so much again for having me on, Doomcock. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you and the wonderful panel and the chat, of course. Always love seeing you guys, and hope to see you again on Friday at Friday Night Frolics. And also want to say again, check out Doomcock's Patreon if you can. I totally reiterate the comment about the DVD commentaries being awesome, but there's also a lot of other stuff on there that's awesome. In addition to the Discord site, kind of the live roundtables where everyone hangs out, all the stuff with Harvey. I think the Patreon is definitely worth it. And I think the lower tier is like $1 or $2. So I would, check that out, guys, if you can. It's definitely worth it. And I'm glad that someone said they could actually find the commentaries, because I do think Patreon's kind of screwed up their layout, and I find it hard to find stuff. But it's worth doing it.
Thank you, Heather L. You do have to search. It's really annoying. You have to search DVD commentaries, and it used to be better, but
It used to be just buttons for it laid right out.
Yeah.
Simple. And now it's all hidden. Yeah, I don't know what the hell.
Why the hell do they do that?
Make stuff harder. Make
it's
it
like
worse.
on X, with the chat feature and YouTube. I mean, they just love to change shit to make it work less.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
well.
It's
What are
worth
you
the
going to do?
Worth the effort, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you believe so. And Sean, go ahead and plug away.
If you want to see me do some models, you can go to the Sci-Fi Model Guy. Other than that, if you want to catch me on Saturday nights with Admiral Teague, we're season 4 of Star Trek Enterprise, where I got this awesome hat, and it's a fun review. So come check us out there. And other than that, I'm just waiting for Christmas.
Well, it's coming. It's coming. It's hurtling towards us, and I'm getting stressed. But what are you going to do? And Andy Masterson, go ahead and plug away, Andy.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I'll be doing a video this week on what my Harvey's joke book. I'm going to be doing a molding and casting of it, and to put these out for those of you looking to snatch up your Doomcock goods for Christmas. We've got the Doomcock Christmas tree ornaments. One's got Doomcock, one's Harvey, and one is Skull of Calderon. I'm trying to put together a thing for everybody goes and picks up the 12-inch Toy Vault plushie Harvey on Amazon, and I have some fezzes and the joke book to go along with that if you're looking to outfit your own Doomcock fan shelf. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Make sure you check out our buddy Gary Ambrosia's channel. He didn't get a chance to plug because he had to run. But check that out. He's got some great how-to videos, some great behind-the-scenes Hollywood props and things that you might find of interest. And we will see you back here next week, and we will be talking about the latest news and yet another movie we love, probably Christmas themed.
I would imagine so, if we can find another one.
We can. I've got one.
All right, good. All right. Well, folks, thank you all. We will see you hopefully Friday on Friday Night Frolics and next Wednesday for another edition of Pop Culture Breakdown. Fuck you, Rob Wright, you son of a bitch. But you are glad that, you know, Heather L likes your Cthulhu Realms podcast. Yes, well, that's excellent taste, and we enjoy doing them. Yes, we do. We certainly do. All right, folks, from the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock and my panel of pop culture pundits, bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next time.